All right, folks, thank you for joining us today on this Wednesday, April 1st, Traffic and Parking Committee meeting. We're about to get started. First, we start with the roll call.
Councilor Bilada, Councilor Ojeda,
Here.
and Chairperson Councilor Rivera.
Here. Yeah. Go ahead.
They come and sit down if they want to. Here upstairs.
Can we use these? Sure. Oh, okay. Come on. We're gonna take these.
All right, while we're setting up, also take the advantage now to do approval of minutes. The Council Standing Committee of Traffic and Parking hereby approves the minutes of Traffic and Parking Committee meetings of March 18, 2026. Roll call.
Councilor Bilada, Councilor Ojeda, and Chairperson Councilor Rivera.
Yes. We're going to start with the first petition. We have number 3, speed hump petition part 1A. Stephen B. Harris requests all speed bumps be painted yellow. Commissioner Rowley.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, so this petition is requesting that yellow paint be applied to the speed humps that have been installed. Assumably because that would increase visibility during the winter time. One of the things that occurs when there's snow or ice on the ground is that the white markings can be a little bit obscured. However, we are required to follow what's known as the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That's a federal standard in terms of how various traffic control devices are signed and marked, including all pavement markings on public streets. And the pattern that you see out there today is a very specific pattern that is dictated in that manual. In addition, yellow paint is reserved for center lane markings, so separating two directions of travel, and can't be used for other markings where you're communicating information to someone in a travel lane. So completely understand the rationale behind it, but it's just not possible under either federal or state standards.
Is anybody here to speak on that item? Anybody online?
To the Chair, we do have one person raising their hands online. To Speaker Natalie Gibson, you can now unmute.
In my car, if you can't hear me. So I do want to make a clarification on what Commissioner Raleigh just said. So it's not just wintertime that these speed humps or bumps are hard to see. It is also at night in lower areas that they are hard to see. In one area where I can think of is when these speed bumps are on a street that is it's a narrow street basically. And you have cars that are parked right up to the bumps now. And those white to the far right. So if you cannot yellow, please have them painted white in the center so that they can be seen in lower areas. Myself in my own SUV have almost taken out my front end, not realizing that a speed hump is there. And sometimes in densely packed areas, you have signs and everything when you're supposed to be paying attention to the road that you don't realize that you just passed the sign 2 houses ago saying that there's a speed hump.
Okay, thank you for that. We're gonna be, moving to file, oh, sorry, go ahead, Councilor Ojeda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the chairman, to the commissioner. You know, I agree with the residents. There's a lot that we see when it comes to the marking, or we don't see. When cars are parked and the lines, the white lines leading up to the speed hump are kind of blocked off. Any suggestions or ideas regarding that?
Yeah, through the chair. So one of the difficult things is what Councilor Ojeda is pointing to, which is that particularly on the narrower residential streets, it's important that those lines that lead up to the speed hump and then the arrows on the speed hump itself be in the travel lane or in the direction of travel. So that's why you see them to the far right side of the roadway. Where it gets a little bit ambiguous is on the smaller residential streets where you don't have a painted double yellow center line. Sometimes in one direction, those lines can be partially under a row of parked cars. So that's something we can explore in this next round, is whether we can cheat those a little bit to the middle. I think they're always, in circumstances like that, I think they're always going to be partially covered by the parked cars, because you can't get into a situation where you have the sort of two lines, two columns of lines pointed toward each other. They need to have separation. But we can try to get them a little bit closer to the middle and still maintain that differential.
Thank you. With that being said, with 3A, we're gonna recommend to file. Roll call.
Councilor Bilada, Councilor Ojeda,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Rivera.
Yes. Moving on to 3B. Patrick Grady requests installation of clear markings and signage in the vicinity of the existing speed hump located at 19 Milton Street. Commissioner Raleigh.
Mr. Chair, so this location actually happens to be on the portion of Milton Street that's a private street. It's an interesting street. The first portion is a public street, then there's a private segment, and then on the far end, it turns into a public street again. But there's a very archaic speed hump on that street and in the private section. So we don't have the ability to mark it or put signs up. If the residents decide to do so themselves, I would just recommend that they do follow the same standards that we follow in the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices.
Is anybody here to speak on that item? Online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands at the moment.
Okay, we're gonna move to file that item as well. Roll call.
Councilor Bilada, Councilor Ojeda,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Rivera.
Yes. All right, with 3C to 5H, we're gonna take them all together. We're gonna go one by one. So, and we're not gonna keep doing the roll call thing because we wanna move things along.
To the
anything-
chair, I'm sorry if I may interject. May I just read 1A so that the folks calling in and online can kind of know the guidelines?
Absolutely.
Thank you. 1A, virtual attendee calling information pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, and in order to ensure active public engagement, the City of Worcester currently allows for both in-person and remote participation at all City Council and Standing Committee meetings. To partake in the meeting, you may attend the meeting in person within the meeting location. You can join via Zoom or dial the direct line as indicated, and the phone number is 1-646-828-7666, and the access code is 161-411-9888. And if we ask that if you are calling in, if you're joined via Zoom, you please use the raise hand function. If you are on the app, you can just use the raise hand button. And if you are calling in, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. And please only raise your hand when the item you want to speak on is being heard. Thank you.
Okay, before we get started, Commissioner Raleigh is just gonna give some information on how we're gonna conduct this today.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just thought it'd be helpful to provide a little bit of background information for folks in the audience on the speed hump program and the selection process and what goes into that. So essentially, there's a number of items on the agenda today. These are all petitions that have been submitted by various parties. In some cases, it's residents. In some cases, it's city councilors, either district councilors or at-large councilors. But these are all locations that have been suggested and then formally petitioned through the city council petition process. This meeting's an opportunity for people to provide input on those petitions. So whether they are in favor of the locations or opposed to them, it's also an opportunity for a petitioner to explain further their rationale or their thought process behind it. You know, whether there's a specific location on the street where speeding is particularly a problem, or what have you. So that's the idea behind the hearing tonight. There are, the program has grown significantly in the 6 years that it's been around. In the first 2 years, the city installed 20 temporary speed humps, so these would be put down in late spring. They're the rubber, they're basically composed like a jigsaw puzzle of various rubber pieces that go together to form a temporary speed hump. Those can be kept in place until early November, and then they have to be removed so that leaf pickup can occur in the winter. Then, of course, snow clearing as well. About 3 years ago, we transitioned to expand the program to what we call a pilot to permanent speed hump program. And the idea behind that is new locations are typically treated with that same temporary speed hump as a way to trial it before a permanent speed hump is put in. But after 1 or 2 years, if the trial proves successful and it achieves what it's supposed to and there's good acceptance in the neighborhood, then instead of continuing to do that, which is a very labor-intensive process, the city will come in and it'll install a permanent speed hump. So those are constructed out of asphalt, just like the roadway itself. They remain in place year-round. They get the paint treatment that we discussed earlier, as well as signs alerting folks to their presence. And the benefit to that is that they're much more cost-effective because you're not paying to put them in and take them out, twice a year. And they confer the traffic calming benefit all year long. So it's not just 4 months, but they're there round the clock, 12 months a year. So that's the process that was pivoted to about 3 years ago. The program has grown significantly in popularity. You can tell tonight there are dozens and dozens of requests on the agenda. This is actually the third public hearing we've had. The Traffic and Parking Committee at the prior session also had 2 for speed hump requests in other council districts. So there are obviously many more requests than can be facilitated or in some cases are even warranted. So I just want to make that clear. Last year we installed speed humps at 65 locations, which was by far the largest installation in a single year. There are probably 200 to 250 requests this year. So just to provide some context, there's many, many more requests than can be accommodated. As far as the hearing tonight goes, as I said, this is a good opportunity for people, whether they're in favor or opposed to them, to voice their support or concerns. It provides us with valuable information so that when we meet with each district councilor to discuss potential locations, we have that perspective in addition to the analytical data. For each of these locations, we do collect speed data and traffic volume data, so we have that. We assess the roadway in terms of suitability, whether there's a grade that's too steep or too much traffic or whatever the case may be. There are some roads that just aren't suitable for application of speed humps. So this is a valuable additional component to that. Happy to answer any questions, but the way the process has worked to date and how I anticipate it'll happen again is that at the conclusion of the hearing, the items actually get filed. So they don't get approved or denied here at this meeting. They get filed. They go on the eligibility list that we have. We gather all the data that I discussed and then meet with each of the 5 district councilors to identify, what ends up being a relatively small program relative to the number of requests that were made.
Thank you for that information. So hopefully you guys have more clarification on what's going to happen today. And with that, we're going to go to 3C. Councilor Christian King, on behalf of Laura McCormick, requests installation of a speed table on Ararat Street in the vicinity of Indian Hill Park, located at 165 Ararat Street. Anybody here to speak on that? It's, I'm assuming was a speed hump?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, so a speed table is a variation on a speed hump that's more gradual. So it's a little bit shorter and much, deeper across.
Okay.
And then it can be used on a street that you normally wouldn't use a speed hump on because it's too abrupt for the volume of traffic that that street has. So it's a little bit more gradual treatment than a speed hump.
Okay, nobody online?
To the chair, we do have one person raising their hands online. To Speaker Douglas Pendleton, you may unmute now.
Hey, how are you?
Hello,
Can you-
yes, please state your name and city of residence, and you can begin your testimony.
Yeah, Doug Pendleton, 36 Forest Street in Worcester here. Just want to say, in the summertime, particularly at night, our bedroom's just probably, just right off of Forest Street, and the motorcycles go by and they light it up and it wakes us up throughout the night. And so we'd be in favor of some type of speed bumps out there would be great. And that's really all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 3D, Councilor Jenny Pasillo and Mayor Joseph M. Petty on behalf of Margaret Lynch request to review of the potential installation of speed tables on Forest Street. That's what that one was about. Anybody else here to speak on that topic? Go ahead, sir. Oh, sorry, sir. Is there any way you can come to the mic? I know you're up there and stuff like that. No, we need it.
I don't know if tech services.
No mics. Yeah. So we need it on the record, if possible. We need. Yeah, that's why. Please come down. Okay. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Just, I guess, a heads up for everybody who's up there, and we're going in order. If you see your petition is going to come up shortly, you want to speak on it, maybe kind of come down around that time. Appreciate it. Name and residence, please. Thank you.
Brian McShay. I live at 51 Forest Street, about the
Okay.
midpoint on Forest Street,
All right.
between Salisbury and Indian Lake. As you can understand, it would be kind of a cut-through. One of the major cut-throughs is used by the police, which they need to. They've got maybe one police car, and maybe two on the whole west side. One over by the Tana Square, one over towards the northwest side. If there's an issue, they've got to come down, they've got to come quick, You put speed bumps in, that's going to make it a mess for the police, fire, ambulances, everything else. And by the way, I live right down the street with somebody who just said you're at 36 Forest Street. I've never heard a motorcycle late at night. And I have my windows open during the summer, so it's not that bad. Forest Street is one of those streets, 8 o'clock, 2 o'clock when the kids get out of school, and 5 o'clock. It's busy. After that, it isn't. You can sleep with the windows open all night, which I've done for 15 years over there. And again, like I said, I'm right at the midpoint. So that's not the issue. As far as police coming through, I understand it. They're down 65, 70 units right now. We need to put more money into recruitment and hiring. That would get rid of most of these problems with all these speed bumps you want to put in. That's going to be, they don't have the time to take care of parking and traffic and this and speeding things. They're doing enough with every other part of the city with major crimes, so that's my big thing on that. And it goes with fire too. Fire and police, fire and ambulances, if somebody's having a heart attack, you got to go over these speed bumps. You got somebody, a police officer coming to help another cop from Doherty High School area, Newton Square. He's got to go over Haviland Street in Beachmont, 6 speed bumps and 3 stop signs. And then he's got to come around and get down Forest Street, and you want to put more on there? I mean, that's just an absolute joke, By the time he gets to the thing, he's going to get called off, So that's as far as that goes with the police. If we had more police, you'd have more people to take care of speed traps and things like that. Forest Street is also a 5-ton limit, and I've had it looked up by the person in charge of the truck team. And he said, yes, it is a 5-ton limit. During the day, there's more trucks go back and forth. I've even personally tried to call some of these companies, look at the phone numbers on these trucks, and I call distribution department saying, oh, yeah, we'll take care of it. Never do. You know, it's just between like 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the problem, more the rattling of the trucks, the sound effects of that, or the occasional trailer, 53-foot trailer that can't take the turn at Forest Street in Salisbury. So that's probably the major concern. The other concern I have also is these speed bumps, you call them. I call them inverted potholes. Let's face it, the damage it does to your suspension, your front end, your alignment, it's a joke. Even if you go over them slow, and once in a while you're going to miss one. Every once in a while you just go along, bang, and you feel like you just get in an accident. It just does. If you live in that street or that area where you have to take it 3 or 4 times a day, guess what? You're down seeing the tire guy, your garage guy, looking at what do we do about this? You know. So, to me, I understand the need. I see cars come by, and I give them the royal salute. You know what I'm talking about? When they come by at 50 miles an hour, which is now 25, used to be 30 mile an hour area. I get it. It's not that many. There's a few and everything like that. But again, if we spent more money, like I said, recruiting, hiring more police, taking care of those things, we'd have more guys around to take care of speed traps and things like that. And that would slow it down fast. I've seen them do it before, and it just goes down to nothing. It's incredible. I'd also like to get maybe the truck team up there more often, maybe go up there once every month or so if they can. I know they're busy with Route 20 and other areas and everything else, but if they can get up there once in a while, just during the middle of the day and take care of that, that would be something else I'd have a concern with. So basically, that's in a nutshell. I'm totally against them. I just don't see the need for them. I see, like I said, in summary, more police, more recruitment, more money towards recruitment, and get this over with and eliminate these speed bumps. They're just awful on a car.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody online for this item?
To your chair, there's no one raising their hands for this item.
Okay, moving on to, you're good? Go ahead. Okay. Moving on to E, Councilor Tony Economo on behalf of Dennis Cohen, request installation of speed humps on Linwood Lane. Anybody here to speak on this item? Please come up.
To your chair, we do have one person raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Hello to Speaker Dennis Cohen.
Yes, this is Dennis. I learned a lot from the previous speaker, and I guess I'm not so much in favor of speed bumps on Linwood Lane. I am in favor of increased enforcement of traffic laws and traffic and speed limits. And I also learned from this previous speaker how many police officers we are below the required amount. My concern has always been there's been no enforcement of the existing speed limits on Linwood Lane. So I either way, the motorist speed on Linwood Lane, during the time of rush hour between 8 and 10 in the morning, and specifically between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, Linwood Lane loses its residential character and becomes a commuter superhighway. And we need much more police presence. And again, I learned a lot from the previous speaker. I think that maybe with increased police officers and increased enforcement, we can make Linwood Lane more livable again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Name and city resident?
Hi, my name is John Weston. I've lived on, at 95 Linwood Lane for over 8 years now. I disagree with some of the things that we're saying. First of all, I want to compliment the city. The permanent speed bumps are designed really well. I've been plowing snow since 1976. You can go over those at 10 miles an hour plowing. So with the speed limit being 25, you can go over at 15 in a car. It's not that big of a deal. But the reason that I'm here, I happen to live 2 houses down from the corner at Berry Road. Everything I'm about to tell you, I wish I would have written down, but I know it by heart, okay? Last summer, doing yard work, it's tough for me to do that, but I was sitting out there, actually it was late summer, I was starting to rake some leaves. And for an hour, because I was tired, I actually sat down with a piece of paper and counted how many people ran the stop sign at Berry and Linwood. Okay? Out of 10, it was 8. And there was probably 150 cars went through that intersection, you know, because of the previous caller there talked about, you know, the traffic flow. Out of those 8 that ran it, 6 didn't slow down. They actually increased their speed to run the stop signs, okay? Down the hill from me at Dick Road, same thing. The ones that do usually use it, they put their foot to the floor, you can hear accelerating. Not long after that, I happened to be in an auto racing organization. A friend of mine was at the house, and he looked at me and he said, like, what are they doing in the street? So he went out to his pickup truck and came back with a radar gun. The average speed in front of my house, one house from the stop sign, was 42 miles an hour. The fastest speed for the hour that we tracked it was 67 miles an hour. So something has to be done, and I understand, of course we need more police. We can't solve that this summer, this spring, tonight. So maybe you don't put permanent ones in, but you can put in the ones, because obviously we do need more police in this city. But again, it's going to take a long time to do that. So we need to slow people down. There's a lot of elderly that walk. Right across the street from me, there's 2 little boys. They have a steep driveway. I'm still waiting for the day that the ball rolls down the hill and, you know, they go after it. It's absolutely ridiculous. My background happens to be in commercial. I've designed parking areas and run events and so on and so forth. Not that that's a big deal, but I really thought about where the bumps ought to be. And I really think that what could happen is if you, at the stop sign at Dick Road, if you went beyond the crosswalk and put one there, same thing on the other side. At least then they couldn't, they couldn't jackrabbit out of it, and they would have to slow down to do that. Really any other place, because once you go past Dick Road, there's a little bit of flat, about 2 house lots, then you have that steep hill. And especially in slippery weather, that would make it very difficult for anybody to go up. And the other way, slowing them down, going down towards Salisbury Street, that steep hill that comes down, you know, I thank whoever put up the flashing sign that has the little radar thing in it that says 25, but they don't pay attention to that. I mean, I know that a lot of the residents have come out. I mean, I've had people stop their cars when I've yelled at them to slow down and, you know, say they're going to come over and do certain things. I mean, people on the corner have actually had people get out of their cars and threaten them at their house for yelling at them for slowing down. So we need to do something. And I'd be more than happy to participate. I don't want to take up the whole thing here because there's a lot of areas to talk about. But if you guys want to talk to me, I've really paid attention an awful lot, and I think I could help you with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To the chair, we do have 2 more people raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, and this is on the Linwood Lane petition, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So to the next speaker, Shirley Dowd, you may unmute. Hello? To the chairs, I can see that Speaker Shirley Dowd has unmuted, but seems like they may have like mic problems. I'm gonna move up to the next person.
Okay.
To Speaker S. Citro. Hello.
Hello, my name is Sue Citro. I live at 8 Linwood Lane. I'm very pro traffic calming and very strongly opposed to more speed humps being put in. I think we've heard a lot of the challenges that residents are feeling with the number of speed humps and the proliferation of them across the city, especially when additional alternatives exist. Studies have shown, you can read this in the Washington Post or from UNC or from most colleges with an urban planning program, about impacts to home prices with just a single speed bump on a street, increasing the more that are there or in the vicinity. Also impacts to how long, even in strong buyers markets, sellers markets, how long homes sit. And we also on Linwood Lane do have emergency vehicles who travel especially to the Willows, and we know that speed humps are known to slow response times. There are alternatives such as some of the radar signs that are used that do show that 80+% drivers do have compliance and do slow down. And I'd like us to consider alternatives to humps that would allow for less noise pollution and less of the impacts with visibility and plowing and other things that residents are continuing to complain about. So yay for traffic calming, and let's look at other alternatives before we do more humps, especially as we wait for more officers who can actually take and hold us accountable to the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, which is what I think we're all really saying is the real solve here.
Thank you. If we have nobody else, move on to 3F.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
To the chair, that is Speaker Shirley Dowd. Hello.
Hi there, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Thank you so much, sorry about that. So my name is Leslie Dowd. I am here with the homeowner Shirley Dowd. She is a senior. She's at 73 Linwood Lane, which is right at the corner of Dick Drive and Linwood Lane, where the stop sign is and where some of the speakers have been commenting on their experience. We want to echo that experience, especially being on the corner at the bottom of the hill, the descent from Barry Road and the steep grade down to Dick Drive, where there is a three-way stop sign and constant, very, very high rate of speed. As some of the other speakers said, this is generally during commuter hours, but it is also late at night, particularly on weekends. The bedrooms in this residence are right there at that corner. So the speeding is heard and wakes Shirley up. And when I'm visiting, wakes me up. When my brothers who grew up here, lived here for decades, it woke them up too. And so we would like to echo the residents who are saying that this is really the problem point on Linwood Lane, is this intersection where there are stop signs, but they are largely ignored, particularly overnight and during commuter hours, particularly the morning commuter hours as well, the early morning commuter hours. And so we would support any kind of speed mitigation, but I also do agree, and Shirley agrees with some of the concerns regarding permanent speed bumps as well. But we think that the enforcement of the traffic sign that is there, either through police presence or radar or whatever technology is available, we think will do the best to mitigate the dangerous speeding through these intersections, particularly because it's obviously regular motorists who are very familiar with the route that are doing this. We don't think that it's going to be people who are caught off guard and strangers to the neighborhood. As the gentleman at 95 Linwood mentioned, this is a cut-through traffic route from 190, from the Holden area, from the Grove Street and Ararat area, and it's well known now as a commuter route, and it's supremely dangerous at this intersection. We're hoping for some enforcement to the stop sign, the traffic sign that's already there, but we also share concerns about speed bumps, in particular because we are at the bottom of the hill across from the intersection, and I don't know if this sounds a little crazy or paranoid. We're a little bit concerned that a car going a maniacal speed, which we completely believe what the resident at 95 Linwood has recorded, we completely believe those are correct speeds. Being at the bottom of that intersection, that hill, we're quite frankly a little afraid that a car would hit a speed bump and go careening into somebody's home, including this home with these bedrooms right here. So we're just hoping if speed bumps are a solution, either temporary or permanent, that there is consideration to the safety of a car hitting those speed bumps and losing control, because that is how fast these cars are going through this intersection.
Thank you, Shirley.
To the chair, do you
Thank
have
you.
one more person just raising their hands?
Okay.
To speaker with phone number ending in 9279, please press star 6 to unmute. Hello, you can press star 6 to unmute. To the chair, it seems like the speaker is having problems with unmuting the mic, so I'll leave their permission for now, but I think we can move on to the next item.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 3F. Counselor Tony Economo, on behalf of Barbara Clifford, requests installation of a speed humps on West Chester Street. Is anybody here to speak on that? Anybody online?
Chair, there's one person raising their hands online. To speaker with username Madeline's iPhone. You can mute and begin testimony.
Hi, this is Madeline Ostro. We live at 70 Westchester Street. We are not really sure where the speed bumps will be on this street, but we live on quite a dangerous corner, pretty much the only corner going around as you go up towards the back way into the Willows. And the rate at which cars speed by is incredible. We hear swearing constantly, we hear beeping constantly. So we also have dogs who we like to walk, and we have a baby who we like to cross the street without, fearing for our lives every single time we leave the driveway, including in our own cars. So we're definitely in favor of the speed bumps on Westchester, especially if they're near 70 Westchester. And yep, I think that's about it.
Thank you. Okay, nobody else. Moving on to 3G. Counselor Candy Merrill Carlson requests installation of speed humps on Edgeworth Street. Anybody here to speak on that petition? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, 3H. Melissa Trotta requests installation of speed humps in the vicinity of 107-110 Orient Street. Anybody speak on that petition? Anybody online?
To the chair, we have 4 people raising their hands on Zoom at the moment. So to the first speaker, Carol Morocco, you may unmute and begin the testimony.
Hi, my name is Carol Morocco. I live on Orient Street in Worcester, and I'm calling to oppose this speed hump. I disagree with a statement in the petitioner's request, which infers that speeding here is frequent and frequently excessive. There is certainly occasional speeding, but it's my opinion that excessive speeding is not typical and happens more often in the late nighttime and early morning hours, not often in the daytime when people are out walking. The request also said that there is no sidewalk specifically oddly between 107 and 110 Orient, so this request was for the safety of walkers. There are no sidewalks in this area, but they neglected to mention that on the side of the road, there is a wide area to safely walk on from approximately 98 to 122 Orient. If someone is walking in the street along that stretch, it's by choice, not by necessity. One of my reasons for opposing the speed hump is that if installed, I would have to go over 3 speed humps on my street from my home to Plantation Street and then 3 returning home, which would certainly take its toll on my car's suspension, even at a slow speed. And I cannot afford additional car repairs that would likely be necessary because of the speed humps. Because Orient Street is a shortcut between Plantation and Grafton Streets, frequently used by emergency services, my main concern with another speed hump is the response time in an emergency. I am already concerned that our 2 speed humps adversely affect emergency services. 3 would most certainly slow response times for myself, my family, and my neighbors in an emergency. And finally, I just have a question through the chair. Please, can someone tell me if a traffic study for speeding is conducted before installing a temporary hump or prior to it becoming a permanent hump. Thank you.
Commissioner Rowley?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, as I stated earlier in the meeting, we do collect speed and volumes for all of the candidate roadways.
Thank you. The next speaker can identify as Julie Cosenza. I've given you the permission to speak. You may unmute and begin your testimony.
I'm here. Okay. Hello. I would just love to say Carol said that beautifully. I agree with everything she said. We already have 2 speed bumps that nobody asked us about. They're here now, whatever. They're a disaster. They're already destroying the road and our cars. So yeah, we strongly disagree with a third or any more for that matter. Can we put this to rest? Orient Street has 2 already. Let's be done with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker can identify as a phone number ending in 2428. You can press *6 to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Jack Morocco. I reside in Worcester, Mass. Through the chair, I submitted an email response via the city clerk. I hope the committee has an opportunity to review it. Late last night, I also discovered the actual request that was submitted by Melissa Trotter. Personally, I find it ludicrous for a resident to see an extreme dire need for a speed hump, but come up with some lame excuse that essentially says, hey, don't put it in front of my house, let's put it in front of somebody else's house. I know this neighborhood well. I've lived here for nearly 70 years. The person making the request lived at 115 Orient Street. I rented a 2-car garage at that exact residence for over 20 years. And directly across the street from 115 Orient, the house at 116 Orient was in our family for 50 plus years. So I know for a fact there's ample room to place a speed hump there in front of her house if needed. Now that I'm aware of this request from 115 Orient, kindly allow me to augment the email suggestion for speed cameras. Just a short distance away, you have an opportunity to have the option for a 3-way stop sign at the intersection of Orient and March Streets. If called for by the traffic survey that you do, it will be just as effective as a speed hump, but not so destructive to cars, trucks, motorcycles, plows, and these vast amount of emergency vehicles that pass by headed to UMass. But then again, I feel bad for the people that would live at that intersection. Furthermore, I own an antique sports car that has extreme difficulty traversing these speed humps. It can ruin the suspension and actually cause body damage. In the end, I'm against any more speed humps on our street. And finally, the house at 115 Orient Street, where this request came from, is currently for sale. I believe the homeowner has moved out. Do we even know if Melissa Trotter still resides there? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next speaker can identify as Rollins. You may unmute and begin testimony.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, listen. So there's already 2 speed bumps on the street. So I wanted to ask the dude who spoke earlier, who said about he was getting data about this. There's multiple houses and multiple people that do not want the speed bump here. I don't know what data he's collecting or what he's seeing. That's not true. Second, do you know what happens when you try to go up the street when there's snow up here and you have 3 speed bumps and there's a little curve? You can't even get up the hill because you have to stop and then try to get up again to go up a little hill. And when the hill is like a curve, you can't even get up the hill. Another thing, all the area you're talking about, they're all houses. Everybody has a front yard and everybody has a backyard. Most of the people with the backyard, you know what the backyard goes to? The park. There's nobody walking on this street. So when you say somebody's speeding and it's dangerous for people walking, nobody is walking on the street. There's no, I don't know if y'all know where the spot is at. Nobody is walking on this street. Nobody is coming on the street. Another thing, nobody has kids over here. And if they do have kids, guess what? They have a yard to play in the backyard. So it's not dangerous when people are saying they're speeding and everybody coming over here. And then, like I said, this would be the third speed bump on this street. They don't need to put another one on here. It's crazy.
Okay, thank you. Name and resident, please.
Anthony Bensavanga. I live at 122 Orient Street. I'd just like to speak in favor of the speed bump. There is a lot of foot traffic, a lot of people walking towards the park there. People go flying down that street. I think we need something to control the speed of people coming off of the hill down from the Rotary. I think I just wanted to speak in favor of the speed hump there.
Thank you.
Hello.
Name and resident?
Yes, my name is Anairis Perez. I also reside in 122 Orient Street. I happen to work remotely from my home, and so my office is right outside that street, and I can confirm that there are several pedestrians. Increasingly, we have more and more children moving into this street who ride their bikes, even commuters going to work. I see them coming through there. There are no sidewalks, as some folks have mentioned, which I do believe makes it a dangerous intersection for folks to be walking down. Some of the concerns around the hill, that particular street, does come up on two sides, but the location being requested for this is actually on the flat part of this hill, and so I personally don't feel that the arguments towards the hill and the potential dangers for vehicles stands, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, in general, I just wanted to name that I am in favor of a speed hump in that location as well.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to 3I. Luciano Gomez Alvarado requests installation of speed humps on Glen Street. Is anybody here to speak on that petition? That was H. We did H. Yeah, now we're on I. Luciano Gomez Alvarado requests installation of speed humps on Glen Street. Anybody online to speak on that?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. 3J, Brenda Lees Brown requests installation of speed humps on Whipple Street. Anybody? Okay, come up, name and resident, please.
Absolutely. Brandon Moriali, 116 Whipple Street. I guess I'm against the speed humps. The speeding is incredible from the base of the street at Blackstone, at the bottom of the street, all the way up to Tennyson. It's the entire way, and the street is incredibly wide. I think instead of these speed humps, it would require so many throughout the entire street. Narrowing the street would be a much better option. Putting in, I don't know about a bike lane or adding sidewalks, more sidewalks further up, putting set parking spots on either side, so something like that to narrow the street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody online to speak on that?
To the chair, to have one person raising their hands on Zoom. To speaker with phone number ending in 5310, you may press *6 to unmute. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, I just unmuted myself. I'm calling, my name's Francis, and I reside at Brightwood Ave, 8 Brightwood Ave, so I wasn't sure because I got on a little late. I didn't know if you guys already went over the Brightwood Ave speed hump request.
Not yet.
Oh, okay, perfect. Do I speak on it now, or should I wait?
Not yet, please.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to 3K. Paul Courteau requests installation of 3 speed humps on Upland Gardens Drive, each to be in front of the 3 bus stops on the street. Anybody here to speak on that petition? Anybody online?
To the chair, I believe we have the petitioner on Zoom. So I will go ahead and mute.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Paul Croto. I am the operations manager for Autumn Woods Apartments. We are located on Upland Gardens Drive. We have 274 apartments that are located on either side of Upland Gardens Drive. And we have approximately 800 residents that live there, 241 minors on the property. And we've been there for 54 years. So, as you can imagine, over the years, there's been so much change. There's been a tremendous amount of growth and development in the area, particularly on the north side of our property, Arboretum Drive, and there's been a tremendous amount of new homes, condos, apartments, and so forth. So Upland Gardens Drive has become a really convenient cut-through street for the entire Packagug area, the whole Holy Cross area, Arboretum Drive, and even that end of Auburn. And they use our street to cut through to Quinsig Village, Route 20, Route 146, and the Mass Pike. So with this, this tremendous growth of volume and speed, Upland Gardens Drive has become very, very dangerous. On Upland Gardens Drive, we have 3 or 6 city bus stops. When I say 6, it's 3. 3 moving on north, and then 3 if people are going south. And then we have, a multitude of bus stops every day. Our property has a lot of, disabled and special needs residents. And of course, I noted that we have a lot of minors. We've experienced some pretty bad accidents over the years, including 2 where vehicles have flipped on their roofs, one of which wiped out an entire bus stop, and thank God it wasn't during school hours, where we would have 25 or 30 children there at the time. But it really is just a matter of time before, and we've had pedestrians hit, but it's a matter of time before we have even a worse tragedy. So, obviously I'm speaking in favor of 3 speed humps where the bus stops are located to slow traffic down and make this street safer. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the chair, to have one more person raising their hands. To Speaker Jimmy McHugh, you may unmute and begin your testimony.
Hi, my name is actually Megan. I used Jamie's Zoom for when she was in school. Like Paul said, our complex, there are so many young children that are running around on the street picking up balls. We need the speed bumps. Forget I know that you have to do it a certain way, but if you were to put the speed bumps in right now, that would be the best thing for the community. I have a teenage daughter who is special needs. I have my partner who's in a wheelchair. Kids come from Holy Cross down through here constantly, flying. Like, you come in, it's up on top of a hill, and instead of braking like you should coming down a hill, they just let their car coast. And it just, had I not grabbed my husband, my partner, crossing the street with my daughter on his lap when she was 2, I would have lost them both, because the guy was flying that quick in an SUV, and it would have hit them in the head, and I would have lost them both. Please put these speed bumps in. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to 3L. Grisel Carrasquillo requests installation of speed humps on Puritan Ave. Anybody here to speak on that petition. Anybody online?
To the chair, to the chair, we do have two people raising their hands on Zoom. To the
Okay.
first speaker can identify owner. Please state your name and city of residence, and you may begin testimony.
Hello? Yes, my name is Julia Tufano. I live at 129 Puritan Ave, and I'm wondering where on Puritan Ave you would be putting the speed bump.
Commissioner Raleigh?
Yeah, through the chair, so I'll have to clarify with the clerk, but I don't believe the petitioner identified a specific location on the street, so that's up for debate if that location were to move forward.
Okay, I do, if the street goes from Hamilton Street to Grafton Street, and then beyond Grafton Street is a dead-end side, which is the side that I live on. And my issue with that is if it were on the dead-end side, sometimes in the winter, or quite often in the winter, we can't get up the street. So we have to back all the way down and go up in one swell swoop, and a speed bump would really interfere in us getting up the street. It's a very short part of the street. So I don't think that would be a very good idea.
Okay, thank you.
To the chair, the next speaker I have on Zoom is phone number ending in 4579. You can go ahead and press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin testimony. Hello?
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Perfect. Yes, my name is Griselle. I am the petitioner, and I live in the corner of Puritan and Bedford Ave. First of all, thank you for your time today. So, like I said, the corner of Puritan and Bedford Ave, we have experienced multiple accidents within a short period of time. For instance, we had 1 year, 3 accidents. We had an instance that my car was parked on Bedford Ave, and it was hit, and it was actually declared a total loss. So there's definitely an issue there. This is not a one-time issue. This incidents make it clear that our street has become unsafe for residents, for pedestrians. We have kids riding their bikes. We have neighbors taking walks. But, you know, listening into the meeting, it made me think, it's not necessarily we need a speed hump. We might need a stop sign on that corner of Puritan and Bedford Ave. I know we have a stop sign on Bedford Ave, but we don't have one on Puritan. So I think that's what's causing most of the speeding and the accidents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, move on to 3M. Suhaib Muhammad Ahmad requests installation of speed humps on Dana Ave. Anybody here to speak at that? Come on up, please. Name and residence.
Yeah, my name is Lakota Peroni, and I live on Dana Ave. This is as much as I'm going to give you. Look, it's an emergency vehicle road. It's the only through road there. Like, it's the closest one from that area. It's one of the closest connecting from Harrington, so it's just going to slow them down. Fire brigade route. Let's slow them down even more. It's really safe. There's no clear problem to be demonstrated on this road. There has been no consistent, demonstrable safety issue on Dana Ave that justifies intervention. I don't understand why there's no data driven. He said there's data. I've never ever seen anyone anywhere near it. So the streets is steep on both sides. It goes down steep and it goes up steep, and then in the middle, it's steep. You can't see from one end to the other end of the street. You stand in the middle of it, you can't. There's a blind hill. So you can't see, there's no direct line of sight. Let's put a speed bump there. Doesn't make much sense. Cars, delivery trucks, I sit at my front window. I love it. It's really fun. I'm from Australia. Snow is funny. I love watching cars not be able to get up the street. So let's put a speed bump there. Make it really hard. It might be entertaining. Maybe I'm not opposed to it. It's congestion. There's a stop sign. There's 3 stop signs. And there's 2 major roads on either side. People slow down, and in busy times they line up. So in the really places where they are scared of flying through in other areas, it's not an issue on Dana Ave. The road condition is very poor. Let's spend our money on fixing the road instead. There's potholes on this road in some areas are speed bumps. So they're already there. Wow. There's existing signage. There's a deaf child sign that was there in the 60s. There's no deaf child there anymore. Let's change that sign. Maybe thickly settled, a speed indicator sign, something else we can spend our money more beneficial. Installing speed bumps is a cost to taxpayers. It's a waste right now on the street. There's a lot of other streets. I've heard a lot of other people saying they need speed bumps. I agree with a lot of people. I agree with a lot of people who don't. I don't on this street. It's going to add noise. It's going to add more disruption. It's a pretty quiet street overall. It's not that crazy. I've lived on really busy streets that shouldn't be really busy in my time, and it's not a long time. My family's been there since 1953. We have not seen any real issues. There's been parks on that street. The person petitioned there was a child's park across from their house when my family was growing up. There wasn't really that much of an issue. I know it was a long time ago. Cars were slower, but 25 mile an hour speed limit, let's get the police to enforce it if we really care about that. No need for speed bumps on Dana Ave, I don't think.
Thank you for your time. Anybody online?
To the chair, I believe we do have a petitioner on Zoom to these. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Hi, this is Sohaib Ahmed. I'm on 82 Dana Avenue. I'm at the bottom of the hill. And I don't know how people haven't experienced the horrible experiences on the street, because my neighbors have even talked about it, where people have raced down the hill, gone up the other hill, and had accidents, both on Hamilton and Dana and Cohasset and Dana, to where one of the cars actually went and hit a house. So there's been multiple accidents since I've moved here in 2018, 2019. So it's unsafe. There's a bunch of children that play and cross the street, and there's like multiple children across the street from me. There's children, I have children, there's children that my neighbors have that play, and it's just completely unsafe. Seeing all these cars just roaring down. They pass, they don't even stop. Some of them don't even stop at the stop sign. They don't even care. They just roar down because they don't want to use the accelerator a little bit more going up the hill. And if, from what I understand, during winter, November, you guys will be removing the temporary speed humps anyway. So I just don't see the problem during winter. It would save possibly lives and multiple accidents just putting a speed bump right in front of my place. I'm okay with that, because it just, from what I've experienced and what my neighbors have experienced, it's just not ideal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the chair, we have one more person raising their hands on Zoom. To Speaker Kim Pacheco, you may unmute and begin your testimony.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Yep, my name is Kim Pacheco. I live on 75 Dana Ave. I am opposed, so against the speed bumps from the first speaker, the first neighbor. He is completely right. I've been living here since 2007. This is like the first two-way street. There is a fire department a couple blocks down. So we do have a lot of firefighters, ambulance, police that cut through to get towards Hamilton Street, because that's the only way they can cut through the fastest. There's also a stop sign halfway through on Dana. So I don't really see lots of speeding going on. Yes, there has been an accident where there was a car that did not stop at the stop sign when they were supposed to, and they crashed into the three-decker house there on the corner. I was there, I saw it. There have been accidents on the street specifically during the winter time because they do not plow the streets well. It's right up as you're going up to Dana Ave going towards Hamilton Street. They don't clean, they don't salt, so the cars kind of slide down and crash into other cars. So that is an issue. Another thing is that Dana Ave has multiple hills, so it's not like a flat surface where there's speeding. There are cars parked on both sides of the road, so cars go a little bit slower. We've had more construction, new houses that have been built, so there are more cars that are parked on both sides of the road. There are many potholes on Dana Ave already, so I know a lot of cars tend to go a little bit slower. And I work remotely. I am here every single day, morning, evening, night. I don't really hear any speeding. The only time I hear speeding is when the firefighters or ambulance are coming through. From the person who put the petition, they live right in front. I know there's an apartment complex that has lots of children. They play outside, but I never see cars speeding when there are kids outside. So I would be opposed on the speed bumps on Dana.
Okay, thank you, Kim. On to 3N, Claudia Minaya requests installation of speed humps on Massasoit Road. Anybody here to speak on that petition? All right, name and address, please.
Good evening, my name is Monica Murphy, and this is my husband, John Murphy. We live on 246 Massasoit Road, and I'm gonna say we do need speed bumps on Massasoit Road. Since I've been living there since 2020, there's been 5 light poles people hit. My neighbor across the street, somebody hit her garage door, and my neighbor across the street from Massasoit, a car went almost into her house, and she's petrified. She couldn't be here today because she just had surgery, so she wanted to be here to speak on that.
Woman next door had a woman next door had a tree hit in the yard. Up the street, there's been 2 fences run into. We've also had, last summer, we had a car flip right in front of our house. So people are speeding around the corner. We're right in a corner on a downgrade, and people speed through there 50 miles plus all
70,
the time.
about
Yeah,
70.
they do 70, but 50 is not uncommon, so. We've called the
Traffic
police department. We have the officer that lives up the street. We've asked him to intervene. The neighbors have just had it up to there. You know, it's a commonplace thing. Like I said, our pole in front of our house has been hit 3 times since we lived there, so in 5 years. It's actually been replaced twice, so.
I was outside today, and there was a car driving, and I guess he couldn't wait for the car, so it's double yellow line, so he just passed it. I mean, around the corner. I mean, it could have been like a head collision. And I don't understand that double line. You're not supposed to pass the driver, the other car in front of you. So I was concerned about that too, because the car would have just hit my house next door. You know, it's something has to be done. Massasoit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody online?
To the chair, we do have one person raising their hands on Zoom. To Speaker Allison, you may unmute and begin testimony.
Hi, thank you. I'd like to echo a similar opinion of the person who just spoke. I'm on Massasoit. My name's Allison Bloker. I've been here since 2016. The posted speed limit is 30 miles an hour, but we frequently report people for speeding, especially late at night. We've had people racing down the street. You can see the tire marks from where they skid out. They do circles in the middle of Route 20 at the intersection. It's a very dangerous area, especially towards the Route 20 side of it, which is where I live. So I wanted to make sure that I vocalized, I do support this, even if it's just temporary, but I also want on record that I think we should add sidewalks. It's only in front of every 4th house is there a sidewalk. They kind of go on and off. And there are children that get dropped off from their bus stops frequently along the street, and I see them having to walk on that side of the road. It is wide, but as they just mentioned, people are passing not only over the double lines, but into the right side of the road, so it's extremely dangerous. In front of my house, I've had a parked car that was totaled, getting hit at about 2 a.m. left without a note, filed a police complaint. Feel free to look that up. So there's just a lot going on. I think that people speed frequently. We've had a metered sign before, one of those radar ones that actually says you're speeding. Didn't seem to help, but was a great start. I think at this point we would really benefit from having a speed hump. In my opinion, I think it would be best placed by the Blythewood playground, though people do slow down there a bit more to turn. But between Sprague and Route 20, that's where people tend to hit the gas and gun it. They know that there's going to be a green light late at night, and they go through regardless. So that's when I'm typically reporting people for the racing. And I just want to make sure, again, I'm in support of this, and I also think we need more sidewalks and want to vocalize both of those things. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to 3O. Kristen and Jonathan Cressman request installation of speed humps in the vicinity of 31 Halmstead Street.
Hello.
Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Kristen Cressman. I'm from 31 Halmstead Street. So my husband and I have a two-family residence at 31 Halmstead Street, and we've owned it since December 2014. So on a daily basis, we witness excessive and reckless speeding by vehicles that are either ascending or descending the hill on Halmstead Street near the intersection of Halmstead and Carlstad streets, which makes it very unsafe conditions for our children and other children in the neighborhood. So again, I do want to say that our house is towards the top of Halmstead, near Carlstad. So there, while Halmstead itself is a hill, we are at the bottom of the, we are at the bottom of the steep part of the hill leading down from Carlstad. So there's excessive speeds with people trying to get up the hill, and then people absolutely 100% getting down the hill. So while we have no monitoring devices, we estimate that some vehicles have reached 50 miles per hour on our street. We've actually felt it necessary to contact the non-emergency line at the Worcester Police Department on more than one occasion due to this issue. We have 4 young boys, they're age 11, 8, 6, and 3. In addition to our children, as I've mentioned, there are many young and school-aged children that reside near our address and play outdoors. In addition, I'd like to mention, I believe it's 27 Halmstead, is a very large 3-level apartment building with also has lots of children as well. So other neighbors and myself have placed removable signs indicating that children are at play, which there's been no change with that. So I'm just here to personally ask that you consider the request for installation of a speed bump near our home to keep our children and other children in our neighborhood and on our street safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online?
Sure, we have 2 people raising their hands on Zoom. The first speaker, I can identify Zachary Cornyn.
Hi, my name's Zach Kernan. I live at 29 Halmstad Street. I can agree with the previous speaker that there is often speeding up and down Halmstad Street. There's a lot of on-street parking, so particularly in the spring and summer months when there's kids at play, I don't have children myself, but I'm very worried for the kids if they go out into the middle of the street and there's cars speeding up and down the street. And also, my car and my neighbor's cars has been hit by people on the street. And so I'm in favor of there being a speed hump on the street to hopefully mitigate cars getting hit and to keep the children in the neighborhood safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next speaker, I can advise Joanne Tripp. Hello?
Hi, my name is Joanne Tripp and I live at 34 Halmstad. I would also like to agree with Kristen. I think a speed bump is absolutely necessary on that street. It is a crowded street. It's crawling with children who are all over the neighborhood. And I work from home remotely some days. I have my windows open at night. My living room faces the street, and it's crazy how fast these people are flying down the street. And it's just it's scary, honestly, because we have so many children running around, including my own. So I agree that this street definitely needs a speed bump.
Thank you. All right, nobody else. Moving on to 3P. Anthony Butkus requests installation of temporary speed humps on Barclay Street at its intersection with Harrison Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Butkus.
Okay.
And the reason for the speed bumps do reduce speed. There's no doubt about it. Barclay Street, I've heard the word cut-through. It has become a cut-through, especially around 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon with all the traffic on Grafton Street. The drivers become frustrated, and they vent their frustration by cutting up or down Barclay Street at a rather high rate of speed. Not all of them do it, but some do. I don't see it being an issue with emergency vehicles because they come up the street rather slow, and I don't know if any real reports have been done of streets with speed bumps versus no speed bumps with reacting to emergency situations. I don't think it would make that much of a difference anyways. But I have a 2-year-old grandson who lives on the 3rd floor. I've been at the 15 Barclay Street for 44 years. The traffic has increased. It is real tough, and therefore there is a need for a speed bump. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody online?
To the chair, there is no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. Go to 3Q. Joseph Borelli requests installation of speed hump on Nanita Street. Anybody here to speak on that? And come on up. Name and residence, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jenny Jimenez, and I'm a neighbor of the Nanita Street. It's also like 8th Street in my area. I do have a petition for 19 Boston Ave, but this also concerns me because Nanita is by Boston Ave, and the concern is there's a lot of children in there. The main hours are in the morning and also in the peak hour in the afternoon. And my concern is that the stops are not being respected neither. And I appreciate the police department also answer my petition to send an officer down the street. But because it's a marked vehicle, so people smart to slow down when they see a police car in there. But I do support to have a speed bump because, like I say, it's 8th Street in my area. I'll mention Nanita as we speak. Commonwealth is also another one where I picked up my children when they come from school. They do not respect the stop that is in there between Commonwealth and Crawford, if I'm not wrong. And also, it's a Middle Street right there in the block, also requesting a bump street right here. From 6th Ave, like 6 houses down my house, they also requesting one. So that being said, I think something has to be done because sometimes at 5 in the morning, I have a neighbor that recently moved. He's renting one of the houses in there. It's 5 in the morning when he leaves work, and you can hear his engine since they get out of his driveway all the way to Hamilton Street. So my concern is that someone gonna get hurt. My vehicle was hit once already, and I don't know what else to do because we have one speed bump like down the street, but it's not enough. It's where I live, it's a corner stop that is not doing nothing. And it's small children in my house, across my street, and pretty much the whole block, it has children. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is anybody online?
To the chair, there is no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, we move on to 3R. Francis Dina requests installation of speed hump in front of 8 Brightwood Avenue. Anybody here to speak on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, we do have the petitioner who called in earlier. I will unmute them now. You can press *6 to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Francis. I reside at 8 Brightwood Ave, and I'm the one who submitted the petition to get a speed hump, whether it be temporary during the spring, summer, and fall months, just because there's a lot of through traffic here every single morning with parents dropping off their kids at Rice Square. Like, they'll go slow down Indiana, and then as soon as they hit the corner of Brightwood and Indiana, they race down the street all the way to, like, past First, I think it's called First Avenue, and then at the end where there's a stop sign. So there's cars constantly flying up and down the street every morning. Also, once it's pickup time, which is between like 2:15 to 3 o'clock, cars will be racing up and down our street. Again, it's most of the time it's parents like whipping up and down Brightwood Ave, dropping off their kids or picking them up there. But then during the summer months and when it starts to get warm, we have a lot of people just using this as like a through street when there is traffic for the school, and they'll also race up and down the street going excessively fast when I believe it should be 25 to like 30 miles per hour in this neighborhood. As well as we have like teenagers and even like younger adults on motorized bicycles, and they're racing in the summer. I had an instance a couple times. It happens like every summer where I physically walk in the middle of the street and put like a cone to just like have them like slow down, like not race down our street, because there are kids. Like, I have 3 kids. My youngest are 5 and 7. My neighbor has a 7-year-old. My neighbor across the street has a 2-year-old, and then there's more younger kids. They're all under 5 that live further down Brightwood Ave on 12 Brightwood Ave, as well as 15. And it's just like, what if a child ran into the middle of the road and they're racing their bikes on here, or there's a car going excessively fast? There's nothing to stop them from speeding up and down our street. So it's very dangerous. And I worry that one day, like, my son's gonna open the gate and like his ball goes outside and he goes to grab the ball, and then there's someone speeding and something awful would happen. Whether it be my child or kids walking home from school, because we don't have any sidewalks either. So I just think we really need a speed hump, and if they want to put it in front of my house, I'd be happy. I'd be ecstatic. I have no issues with that. We just need something done to avoid people racing up and down our street throughout the year, whether it be summer, fall, or spring. And that's it.
Thank you.
To chair the next speaker, I can identify as Munish Verma. Hello.
Hello, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, how are you? This is Munish. Last name is Verma, and I live at 6 Boston Ave. And the problem here is people driving cars from east on Hamilton Street East and entering Boston Ave. They just come flying. My driveway is blind at the first spot. People don't even stop, even they look, I'm backing up or something. So I have to be very careful. Twice I almost get hit. And even there are a lot of kids around the area. Like, going out from Boston Ave to Hamilton Street is okay, but coming in, people fly in like 40 miles an hour. There is always an issue there. And my neighbors have the same issue. I give them the call too, but I don't know if they appear on the call today. But we don't know if we need the speed bump there or a speedometer, the trap, but something have to be done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manish.
Okay, the next speaker we have is phone number ending in 0994. I will go ahead and give them the permission to speak now. Oh. Hello, you can press *6 to unmute. We are currently on item 3R for Brightwood Ave.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Christina Winden, and I live on 12 Brightwood Ave. In regards to the speed bump Francis had requested,
And I do agree with that. There are a lot of children, families. This is a very walkable street here, and the amount of traffic that flies through this little neighborhood is insane to me. She had mentioned teenagers and sometimes it's adults on motorcycles, like dirt bikes. They also race on this street. I think the worst of it is in the spring, summer, and fall time. So even if it has to be a temporary speed hump, but there are so many cars coming down this little street that speed very, very fastly. I have a 7-year-old son who likes to ride his bike up and down the street, as long other children do too. There's a ton of kids on this street, and I know Frances has 3 of her kids. They're always outside in the street. Something just needs to be done, even if it's in the warmer months here, to slow them down a little bit, because I've been almost hit on the street. I've seen my neighbors walking down the road, almost getting hit by these cars. Nobody's paying attention. Something needs to slow them down. I know we did get a Kids at Play sign, and that did not resolve anything. I don't even think it's in a really clear area to even see that sign on Brightwood Ave here. So hopefully we do get a speed hump installed before something terrible happens on the street. More and more children, more families are moving to this area. Every year there's more and more children out on the street. So something does need to be done.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 3S, Denies Lou, request installation of speed hump on Commonwealth Avenue in the vicinity of each stop sign on the street. Is anybody here to speak on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, we have 3 people raising their hands on Zoom. The first speaker I can identify is Barry Fredkin. You can go ahead and unmute. Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I live on Commonwealth Ave in Worcester, and I do want to support this. I think multiple speed bumps would be helpful on Commonwealth Ave. We have a lot of speeding. We do have a few stop signs that people tend to roll through or disregard completely, and a lot of children on the street and people who are walking in the sections of the street without a sidewalk to get to either the school bus stops on either end or the WRTA routes that run on Hamilton Street and Grafton Street. And I wanted to mention also that on the MassDOT crash data portal, it shows 51 crashes on Commonwealth in the last 10 years. So I think this is very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next speaker I can identify is Mary McKenzie. You can go ahead and unmute now. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Mary McKenzie, and I'm a homeowner at 51 Commonwealth Ave. I am speaking in support of speed humps and traffic calming being installed on Commonwealth Ave. Commonwealth is a 2-lane road, and it also technically has parking on one side. And so while it may seem like a small road, it is actually a rare connection between 2 larger roads, Hamilton and Grafton. It does have pretty frequent traffic, especially since there is a large shopping center at the end of Commonwealth near Grafton Street. And I know we've actually heard from other people tonight who do live on some of these other rare connections between these 2 major roads. And maybe we are seeing a theme of speeding on these connecting roads. I digress. But despite being a pretty busy connector, Commonwealth only has sidewalks on about a third of the entire length of the road. The sidewalks begin at Hamilton, and then they actually end right at the corner where we live. So anyone who is walking Grafton Street has to walk in the street past this point. And we actually do have quite a few walkers on this road. This includes people who are going to shop or work at the plaza or any of your other businesses on Grafton. There are people who are going, I mean, not only on the sidewalk down to Hamilton to catch the 16, but the other way with no sidewalk, they're going up to pick up the 5 or the 12 bus at Grafton. We also do have a lot of kids in the neighborhood who are either walking to school or they're walking to catch their bus, because we do have bus pickups down at Hamilton, also in the middle of Commonwealth. I can't remember exactly where, but I know there are some bus pickups that I see. And then we also have a bus pickup at the shopping plaza. And then we also have residents just walking in the neighborhood for recreation or walking their dog. And I do want to shout out my neighbors that I heard speak earlier who are on Nanita and Boston. They get it. They see it too. So we do have 3 stop signs along Commonwealth at Crawford, Modoc, and Glazin. And not only do we see drivers regularly not stopping at these stop signs, often they speed in between the stop signs. And then I'm almost done, but between Modoc and Glazin, there's a small hill which creates a brief obstruction to see anyone coming in the opposite direction. And this can be particularly precarious for people who are walking in the street at that point because they have to, or even people who are on bikes because they're at a lower profile. Most of Commonwealth between Crawford and then the end where it turns into Jennings, where the shopping center is, it's straight and flat, and that just enables people to drive faster than they should. So with that said, I would like to see traffic calming along Commonwealth, and I am supportive of the addition of speed humps wherever the Department of Transportation and Mobility sees fit to put them based on best practices, whether it's in between the stop signs or near the stop signs. And I'm certainly in support of having a speed hump in front of my house. If that is the best place to put one, I have no problem with that. And I'm really not worried about the property value of my house. All right. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And the next speaker I can identify is Sasha Allen. Hello, you may unmute and begin your testimony.
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Sasha Allen. I live at 16 Middlesex Ave. I was going to speak on another topic, but I heard this one come up. I commute on Commonwealth daily going to work in Marlborough, Massachusetts. I drive a lowered vehicle, and yet my car may sound loud. It is impossible to speed on Commonwealth. The condition of that street in the last 2 months has cost me over $1,000 in automotive repairs. That street is riddled with potholes. I think the moon is actually smoother than Commonwealth. Putting a speed bump on Commonwealth, which is a common commuted road in the summertime or anytime, also causes a major hazard to motorcycle riders, which I am also that. Speed bumps, especially the temporary ones, are made of rubber and a composite material. That material becomes very slick when it's moist. That slickness causes a very high hazard to anybody on a motorcycle. If anybody's ridden a motorcycle will know any abrupt incline is treacherous at best, all right? And compiling that with the condition of Commonwealth, I think it would be completely hazardous to myself for me to drive down that road if there were speed bumps on top of the millions of potholes that are on that road. That's really all I have to say in regards to this matter. But if we're putting speed bumps on a road that's covered in potholes, that seems counterproductive at this point, just saying.
Thank you. I think we're done on that one. We're going to move on to 3T. Albert Encarnacion requests Enid Street be reviewed for the installation of traffic calming measures, including speed humps. Anybody here in that petition? Come on up, name and address, please.
recognize my name. It's Randy Chapdelaine. I live on Enid Street. I've written many times. And, well, I have a long story. It started about 7 years ago. Came in front of this committee and I was told speed bumps cannot be used to regulate speed. Come on. That's what I was told. I mean, it's right in the name, speed bumps. But anyway, numerous kids on the street, numerous. I had to bring my kids up, teaching them not to go next to the road. If a ball goes in the road, don't go. I was on them continuously because there's speeders in that road. And I'm not talking about just the average teenage kid in his new car that he got and he thinks he's hot. I'm talking soccer moms that give me the finger when I tell them to slow down. And I mean, police, that's too much to ask of them to patrol it all the time. They can't sit there. Except once a month, I do see them sitting off of Commonwealth a lot to get people that roll through the stop signs. But anyway, my house has been hit. My porch, my front deck, front door, wiped out one night about 2 years ago. And so it's cost me a lot of money to have fixed. And then it's just, some kid's gonna get killed. I don't care about it. I'll slow down if there's a speed bump. I ruin my suspension. No, you slow down, you go over a speed bump. Learn how to drive. That's all you gotta do. And I'm fed up. I really am. It's redundant. You hear it time after time. Kids. And it's true, a kid's gonna get killed. And I don't want to see it happen. I'm scared of it. And I hear tires screeching, I hear brakes. I look and I'm afraid of looking out and seeing one of my neighbor's little kids dead in the road. And people are complaining about, it's slick. Who cares? You slow down, go over a speed bump and go about your business. It's gonna save some kid's life. It's just, my suspension or a kid's life. I'll get a new suspension every year if that's what it takes. But you can put it right outside my house. I slow down and go over it. But I don't care where you put it. Just put it there. And I'm tired of getting yanked around. The last, the guy that just retired, I was talking to him and he was like, this was two summers ago. Oh, it's gonna be on the ballot. We're gonna get your speed bumps. I waited 2 years, nothing. So I came back in here. But I don't know. I just do see them popping up around the city. But my street needs it. There are people, because I don't want to confess to anything, so. No, really. It's my kids, they're kids. I know everybody on my street, well, just about everybody. And I know they're little kids and they're kids that are growing, and I just don't want to see anything happen to them. So it needs to be something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the chair, we do have the petitioner on Zoom. I've unmuted, and to the speaker, you may unmute and hello?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so my name is Albert Encarnacion. I was one who submitted the petition. I completely agree with everything that he said. We have kids here. The cars are going crazy at all times of the day. So we would love for the speed bump to be placed anywhere just for the sake of the kids, because like he said, something bad's gonna happen. And that's all I have to say, because he pretty much said everything that I wanted to say.
Thank you.
And then we have the next speaker I can identify is phone number ending in 3838. I will go ahead and give them the permission to talk. Please press *6 to unmute.
Okay, so I live at 115 Beeching Street, and I have been here since '93. In that time, I have had many car accidents in front of my house. There was one serious one where a car actually drove in to my garage and into my family room. So I can attest to the fact that there is an issue on Beeching Street with cars. I'm not so sure that the bumper is going to help. It may be, maybe a trial to see how effective and how well it is, and how well that will work. But I think it's just a broader issue with travel on Flag Street, not Flag Street, but on Flag Street. So yeah, and issues that need to be addressed. And I'm not so sure that the bumper does that. So those are my comments. So.
Thank you. Okay. We're gonna move 3U. Yes, Councilor Christian E. King requests installation of speed humps on Forsberg Street. Anybody here to speak on that? Oh, we have one.
Hello.
Name and address, please. Yeah.
Hi, Councilor Rivera, Commissioner. I have lived in Quinsigamon Village, or been in the village, since 1972. We've come a long way. I live on Victoria Ave, so you could actually include that also. That's the next one.
Yep.
Forsberg and then
Forsberg and
Victoria.
Victoria, yep.
So they,
Okay.
Forsberg goes up off of Greenwood Street, and Victoria is a very short street. Our problem is we have the park, Greenwood Park. And in the last couple years, the city, whether grants, I'm Marge Bakiri, this is, go ahead.
I'm Viva Adams.
Yeah,
And I've
we're
also
neighbors.
lived there in Victoria Ave for 43 years, so it's
Okay.
a lifetime.
So the last couple of years, and perhaps that should have been dealt with, because I've been listening very closely here tonight, and it's very interesting how things have evolved in this city in a very negative way. So, Greenwood Park allows teams, soccer teams, what's that other one where they pull up there? Well, whatever, different sports. What's rugby? The rugby, even that. You know what? I go down there and I have to talk to them because I am not shy to talk about, please do not rev, speed, and whatever, okay? I do my due diligence. So I realized sitting here for the last couple of almost 2 hours that we all of the petitioners, this is my suggestion, including myself, okay? And the rest from my neighborhood, because there were a few of you, we should back up and talk to the city, get a hold of the city manager and direct more enforcement, or no, more presence, not enforcement, presence of police. Okay? So, if all of us who petitioned or are for something that needs to be done, I think let's backtrack. I would like, the bottom line is I would like two, one on Forsberg and one on Victoria at the corner, close to the corner, because that would but only in the summer months. I don't see it any other time, because that would deter people from speeding. And I think it could, police presence, and a police presence, not police giving tickets, that's not the solution. Police presence. They do an amazing job, okay? Their presence. It means a lot. So I say, let's back up, everybody back up, let's petition the city manager to work with the police department to get them out there. In the meantime, please do consider one on Victoria Ave and Forsberg Street during the summer months.
Thank
You
you.
want to say anything?
No, I think she covered everything, don't you think?
I think so.
Everybody knows where I live. Come and see me.
Is there anybody
All right,
online
thank
for
you.
Victoria Ave and Forsberg? Since we combined both of those.
Yeah, that's part of it. So.
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. So we took care of U and V. Going to W. Christopher Sacco requests installation of speed humps on Middlesex Avenue. Name and residence, please.
Hi, Chris Sacco, 8 Middlesex Ave. Controversial speed bumps, huh? Wow. I'm very for speed bumps. I don't think anybody, either for or against speed bumps, wants people to speed. As an adult, I don't think, I mean, kids are bad to hit, but so am I. So I live on Middlesex Ave. So you have Boston Ave, Middlesex, and Commonwealth. All three of those roads have become like freeways. All night long, they're speeding. And again, I put a speed bump in front of my house. But can I have the one, if someone's going over 40 miles an hour, the spikes come up and just shred their tires. And then I don't care. But just to consider that. But again, I'm very for the speed. Middlesex is a short street. Boston Ave is just as bad. You've heard people talk about that. It's that whole area from Hamilton to Grafton has become like an expressway. So to consider it, I don't know how you, contextually, you have to consider a road like Massasoit to be different than, you know, these side streets like Middlesex. But the decision you make, I'm for the speed bumps on my street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody online?
To the chair, we have 3 people raising their hands online.
All right,
First
making
speaker.
sure, just make sure it's on the Middlesex.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first speaker we have is Sasha Allen.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
And the town is collecting data and using temporary measures before making anything permanent, and I do appreciate that approach. My concern is specifically about motorcycle safety, because for some of us, this is personal. I ride, my wife rides. She is a disabled veteran, and road conditions like this can affect her even more seriously. What may feel like a minor bump in a car is much more dangerous on a motorcycle, especially at night in wet conditions or when visibility is limited on a motorcycle. Losing control over an unsafe bump doesn't mean a rough ride. It means hitting the pavement, sliding into traffic, and possibly a life-changing injury. Unlike someone in a car, a rider has very little protection. For my wife and I and other riders in this community, that risk is real. If the town moves forward with a temporary installation, I ask that motorcycle safety be part of that evaluation, and that the town choose the safest design possible with clear signage even on temporary speed bumps, making proper markings for a smooth, low-profile option rather than abrupt bump. Traffic calming is important, but that starts with enforcement. It doesn't start with speed bumps. I've lived on Middlesex Ave at 16, Middlesex Ave, for over a year now. Not once have I seen a police officer on this road doing stop sign or speed enforcement. I see people speed by my house all the time, and it is crazy bad. But putting in a speed bump, so when the nice weather's here, me and my wife and our friends that ride are at risk, is not the answer. Using government tax dollars and having police department, the Worcester Police Department, enforce the speed and do traffic enforcement, that's the answer. Not putting it in something that's going to make it unsafe for me and the people I care about. Thank you, and have a nice night.
Thank you.
The next speaker can identify his phone number ending in 2307. You may press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and city of residence, and you may begin your testimony.
Yes, like other neighbors that are on the street, I live near Chris Sacco, who did this petition. I've lived here my whole life. I'm 65 years old. The traffic in the city obviously has increased through population. This part of the city, being Boston Ave, Middlesex Ave, and Commonwealth Ave, the traffic has increased incredibly, and it's been reckless. Now, they use Robert Street to go up Middlesex Ave to cut over to Commonwealth Ave, and that access point, at times, people are taking that corner. There has been accidents in the past late at night up there, and again, like the gentleman was saying that has the motorcycle at the top of the street, we never see police presence up here. Once in a great while, we'll see a cruiser go up the street, understanding they've got their hands full. But Commonwealth Ave, those stop signs, I would say maybe 50-50 you'll get people to stop. I know a lot of our neighbors in the neighborhood, we've all talked about how they're blowing through those stop signs. On Middlesex Ave, again, it has become an access point from Hamilton Street to Commonwealth Ave for people to race up the street, and they race down the street. And it happens more often in the summer, but the winter has been no exception. We've seen people coming up and down the street, and in some cases, I'll bet you 35, 40 miles an hour. And a lot of times, you've got to, when you're backing out of the driveway up here, you've got to look up and down the street, as you should, both ways, sometimes multiple times, because you're not sure when that individual will either be racing up the street or racing down the street. I feel we can't put a cop at the top of the street all the time, but there's something's got to be done, because somebody is going to get injured, somebody is going to get hurt. There's more families in the area. They're walking dogs. And again, you've got to be careful, because these cars come flying up and down the street. I mean, so many times you want to point to the stop signs in Commonwealth Ave, or you try to gesture to them to slow down going up and down the street. Nobody seems to care. They just blow right by you. So that's why I'm for, I understand with the motorcycles, the issues that are there with that. But again, where does the safety draw the line? Is it, for everybody that's walking on the streets? I wish there was some way we could just force everybody to slow down. To this point, it hasn't happened. We've asked for police to sit at the top of the street from now and then, maybe just to have a little show of somebody at the top of the street, or even on Robert Street. They could sit at the top of that street, watch the stop signs at the bottom of it, and I'll bet you they will grab every other person. They'll be grabbing and blowing through those stop signs. So I'm kind of for the speed bumps. We got to do something, because it's getting worse. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I can identify is Jay Salmon. You may unmute and begin your testimony. Please state your name and city of presence before you begin. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Salmon. I live at 22 Middlesex. And as Stephen and Chris have said, the volume of traffic on this street has increased dramatically. When we first moved here 35 years ago, it was a very quiet street. But this street, Middlesex, is parallel to Commonwealth Ave. And you can only park on the right side of Commonwealth Ave. So what we have is a lot of traffic that comes from Hamilton Street. They race up Middlesex Ave. They take a right at either Crawford Street or Robert Street to go park their cars, and so they don't have to turn around. We also have the former Middlesex School, which is now, it's been converted to condos. So there's a lot of people moving in and out of there all the time, and they're not, residents, permanent residents of the neighborhood. So they really don't have any respect for the neighborhood. And in the morning, they're flying up and down the street. And we've actually had school buses cut through here and fly down the street, rubbish trucks going to Middlesex School. It's really gotten out of control here.
Thank you.
There's definitely a need for speed bumps.
We all set?
Yes, we are all set.
Okay. Moving on to 3X. Samuel Hernandez requests installation of speed humps on Pilgrim Avenue. Anybody hearing that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. We already took care of Y. Munish Verma kind of already spoke on Boston Ave. Nobody else here want to speak on that one. All right. And 3Z. Jenny Jimenez requests installation of speed humps in front of 19 Boston Ave. I think she spoke on another one already besides her petition one because she mentioned that Boston Ave already. Nobody online?
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, moving on to 4A. Councilor George Russell, on behalf of Jessica Rivas, requests installation of speed humps on Malno Street. Malno Street? Yeah, Malno Street. Anybody here speak on that one? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, 4B. James McCoy requests installation of speed humps on Davidson Road.
To the chair, I believe we have the petitioner on Zoom.
Okay.
Okay. I will go ahead and mute them now.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
How are you, Jim?
Good. Thank you for hearing me. I submitted the petition because I live at 6 Davidson Road in Worcester. Davidson Road is between Moelicus Grammar School and Oak Road Junior Senior High Schools. And if you would just bear with me a second. According to the city, Davidson Road is 1,462 feet long and forms a triangle between Burncoat and North Parkway, ends at North Parkway down near Hanover Insurance. People have been using Davidson as a cut-through for the 40-plus years we were here to avoid the traffic light at the intersection of Burncoat and North Parkway. Last summer, North Parkway was granted a temporary speed hump, which significantly increased the traffic on Davidson Road. So I don't think it's a, I think it's a reasonable assumption that people who are avoiding speed humps and traffic lights are kind of in a hurry. So that's one of the reasons why I submitted the request. My wife also happened to have an opportunity to talk to a city employee who was doing some work in our neighborhood, and he commented on how fast cars were traveling up and down our road. Obviously, with the number of requests for speed humps, while I hope we are granted one, if we're not, I'm wondering if we could at least get a traffic study prior to and possibly a while after the temporary bump is replaced on North Parkway to confirm whether or not there is added traffic and possibly a speed issue on Davidson Road. That's all I really wanted to say in regards to the petition.
Thank you, Jim. Where else at?
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands.
All right, moving on to 4C. Mayor Joseph M. Petty, on behalf of Donna Vallo, requests installation of 2 speed humps on Grand Mount Road. Name and residence, please.
Good evening. My name is Donna Vale. I live at 47 Grandmont Road. I have been there for 28 years, and I was happy to purchase my home because it was on a dirt road and I didn't have to worry about people speeding. Over the years, that's changed, and my road has been paved. A lot of new homes have come in, and a lot of children. My house is at the top of the hill. Millbury Street is at the bottom of my house. Providence Street is in the front, over near Vernon Hill School. So you could be going down Providence Street, and you take a right to Doane and left to Grandma. You can go down to Millbury Street, you take a left up Crusader Auto Body, that's Grandma. Since it has turned into a paved road, everybody uses it for a cut-through. And it is a haven for children, or teenagers in the summertime. There are, I can't even imagine how many little mini bikes zooming up and down the street. And I have toddlers that live across the street from me. I've had cars go into my beautiful cast iron gates in my yard. I've had people hit my car. I've had people hit my dog. The road is a nightmare. And I want it right in front of my house, if possible, because it seems as they come around the corner off Doane Street, coming down the hill, that's when they step on the gas and they go. And then, when they're coming up from the other direction, now they're gonna hit the hill, so they step on the gas. So I'm right there, and it's just way too chaotic. And there's way too much traffic, and we definitely need a bump. That's right there at the school. It's very important.
Thank you.
Or give me my dirt road back.
Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, we'll move on to 4D. Counselor John Fasolo, on behalf of David Ricciarelli, requests installation of speed hump on Travis Street. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, we have one person raising their hands on Zoom. To Speaker Ruth Abelagi, please go ahead and unmute, and you may be in testimony.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you guys can hear me. My name is Ruth Abawaji, and I live at 28 Travis Street. And 28 Travis Street is a very short, well, not very short, but a short, windy road that goes from Lamar to Arborwood. There are roughly 18 houses on this street. It is not a shortcut street and does not connect any major streets. There is no through traffic. There's no cut-through traffic whatsoever. The majority of the cars on this street are residents. I have lived here for almost 28 years and have never seen a car speeding on this street. We've never had an accident. In fact, the average number of cars that drive by per hour is maybe 4, and that's during rush hour. In between the rush hour times, I see a car maybe every 2 to 3 hours. I work from home and my desk faces the street, so I am not guessing here. I'm not making assumptions here, I know. Since I received this public notice, I've paid particular attention to the street, and I've gone more than 3 hours without seeing a single car drive by. In fact, since I've been on this call since 5 o'clock, I've seen 2 cars drive by in those 2 hours. So the street is windy, so you just cannot even speed if you wanted to. And Arborwood is a dead-end street, which is I'm on the Arborwood end of the street. I'm 1 house away from Arborwood. It's a dead-end street, and Arborwood is a straight street. It's flat, but there are cars parked on both sides. The houses on Arborwood have a lot of cars for each house. So the cars, they have cars parked on each side of the street. And so it's a 2-way street, but it's used as a 1-way street because 2 cars cannot go side by side to each other. And when you get to the dead end, that's when you turn left and it turns onto Travis Street. And then from there, it's a flat street, but it's windy. So you just cannot speed on it. So today I worked from home from 8:30 to 5, and I only saw 4 cars go by. Some neighbors who walk their dogs actually use the street and not the sidewalks, even though all our sidewalks were taken out and replaced with these beautiful new concrete sidewalks last year. But they don't use it. Well, some do, but not all of them use. They use the streets to walk their dog because the streets are now busy. There are no cars going by. So I'm not typically against sidewalks, but not sidewalks, speed humps, but I'm just trying to understand the justification for the speed bumps or speed humps request for Travis Street, because we just do not have the traffic and we do not have the speeding cars. So I'm just struggling trying to understand what that request, or what prompted that request. And as I said, I've lived here. I'll be 28 years in July, and I raised my kids here, and the whole neighborhood, we raised our kids here, and we used to even have block parties on the street because there were no cars. So I don't get it. So I'm just trying to understand.
Okay, thank you, Ruth.
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, we're gonna move on to 4E. Jasmine Hollins Gabois requests installation of speed humps between 1 and 31 Kingsbury Street. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands.
All right. 4F, John Jankowski requests installation of speed humps on Ward Street between Endicott Street and Vernon Street.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Counselor, hey, Commissioner, Sergeant, I was tasked with the Vernon Hill area, Ward Street. Basically, what we're trying to do, or what they would like in the neighborhood, the residents, businesses, and the school, especially the school. You got a funeral home down there, you got a church down there, you got the Ace Temperature also down there. You got Dorchester Street, Richland Street, Endicott Street. All stop signs, all coming into Ward Street. Endicott Street comes into this area of Ward Street, four-way there. The concern is from the four-way past where the businesses are, which is the funeral home and Ace Temperature, which would lead basically to the highway. I'm observing 5 days a week. I'm there on Ward Street. I assist the school with whatever they need, the community with whatever they need. The counselor and commissioner will tell you, police department also. What they're looking for is some type of solution where we can at least slow the traffic down. I don't think we're looking for 900 speed bumps on Ward Street. Everybody knows Ward Street is congested on one end. The middle part is somewhat congested, where we got the church, they got the church, the businesses, especially the funeral home. The funeral home has problems with the fact that when they're trying to get into the church, they've got cars flying that won't even stop for their processions. That's one of their big complaints. The church also, with them coming out of their parking lots into traffic, boom, problem. School, that's a major problem. They've got 14 school buses that have to use from Richland Street to Ward Street. And unless somebody's there, which usually is myself, to slow whatever we have to slow down to get those buses out. You know, I heard someone mention before, someone giving them the finger or swearing at them, or, 5 days a week, whatever, it doesn't matter to me, say what you want. The ultimate goal is to protect whoever needs to be protected in the neighborhood. Residents, children, bus drivers, truck drivers, whoever, it doesn't matter to me. Motorcycles, everything, they're all included in my stuff. But I think strategically, somewhere along the line with the length of the way Ward Street is, and the cars coming down, speeding, Dorchester Street, Richland Street, and Endicott Street, right in that vicinity, I think we probably need to put something in there that's reasonable, that's not going to slow the traffic down too much, because it's already traffic filled as it is, from what my observations and from what I've seen in the last 3 years, and just being down there every day. But there's a lot of residents who are concerned with the way things have sped up on Ward Street. I see it every day, so it is a speed zone. People don't really care. Half of those people don't even care that there's a stop sign there. And that's the other part that I have an issue with. But there's other things we'll talk about at another time. I really don't want to get into too many things in case there's a few people on the phone, which I think there are, mainly someone from the school. So I'd like them to address the situation. But that's on my end from what I think we should do eventually in the long run, because I know this is just a conversation we're having. But I know we'll figure this out and we'll do something, but the concern is for the school, the people, the kids, and there are a lot of kids getting off of I forgot the other 4 buses that come from Quincy School on Greenwood Street, that Millbury Street, that come towards that bottom of that 4-way. A lot of those children come towards their houses towards the end of that Ward Street, towards 290. And there's a lot of children that are crossing the streets there that if no one was there, there's problems. So we need to address those other 4 buses also along with, so we're talking 20 buses almost in the neighborhood. And speeding over there is an issue, just like it is throughout the city, you know? So, we got to address each area the way it is, and hopefully, we just hope for the best. But that's all I got for right now, guys. I'm going to move along and step off to the side and see what's on closed circuit TV.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Is anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, move to next item. For G, Jacqueline Cowpage requests installation of speed humps at the corner of Russell Street and Elm Street. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands.
All right, we go to 4H. Maria Montano requests installation of a speed hump in the vicinity of 50 Freeland Street. I know she was here. She had to step out. Anybody else here on that?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands.
All righty. For I, Ruben Calderon Brito requests installation of speed humps on Eureka Street. Anybody here for that? Anybody here for that? Yeah, come on up, please. Name and address.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Halig. I am the property owner of 125 Grandview Ave.
What was that?
I am the Grandview Ave. So
Okay.
I am the street over. I am speaking
Okay.
against Eureka Street because it is one of the cut-through streets I have to use to get to my house.
Gotcha.
Additionally, I am here because I did get the letter saying that my street was also considered for the speed bump. So I wanted to speak actually against these. Personally, I think speed humps are a bit of a barbaric solution to a real problem. Yeah, there is speeding. I don't think it affects my street or Eureka Street. Eureka Street's a very dead street. Not many people go down it unless they're trying to get to their homes. Grandview Ave, though, does get busy during like rush hour. You'll see traffic because we are a major cut-through street. But I don't see speeding. I do get to work remotely, so I get to see traffic frequently. During the day, it's pretty dead. From 9 o'clock, 5 o'clock when it's busy, it's just a lot of traffic, generally slow traffic. And a lot of people today have given great reasons as to why speed humps are problematic. Things I didn't even think of, like motorcycles. If you're going too fast, you can cause damage to, or if you're going too fast, you can go off the road, causing more damage. Me personally, I drive a sedan. It's very low to the ground. So you can't even go to the speed limit. You'd have to go lower than the speed limit to make sure you're not damaging your car. And that's just not something I want to deal with on my own street or neighboring streets that require cut-throughs to get to my house. I've already had to deal with this issue on Clover Street. It was one of the streets I used to have to take to get to work. They installed a bunch of speed humps last summer. It already has 4 stop signs. It didn't need 4 speed humps. I had to just start taking alternate commutes. And I can't really speak for everybody else's streets. Maybe there's some real problems I've heard here today, like Commonwealth Ave. But personally, I don't think Eureka Street or Grandview Ave really needs it. So that's it.
Thank you. Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, move on to 4J, Beverly Bailey, request installation of speed humps on the public portion of Potomska Street. Name and address?
Mine is 35 Potomska Street.
Okay. What's your name?
Gail Vigneault.
Okay.
You go first. Okay. Hello. Okay, Beverly E. Bailey lives the third house on the left from June Street going up Potomska, and I live on the 7th. If there is a speed bump, I'm sure that she'd want it right after her driveway, so in the wintertime, she wouldn't have a problem getting into her driveway. The hill is very, very steep. I've been up there for 69 years. I know the street for 69 years, that in order to get to the top, you've got to get some good start on June Street to be able to make it to the top. And if there's a speed bump there, it's gonna throw you off. You won't be able to make it. And then going down the hill, I've slid down that many a times. And if you slide, you're gonna go over that speed bump, and it's gonna end up damaging a car, the back end of a car, or anyway. And also, Beverly E. Bailey and her husband are deceased.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Richard Vigneault. I live at 115 Wamsutter Ave in Worcester, which is right around the corner from Potomska Street. It's on the private section of Wamsutter Ave on the west end. There's 9 houses up there. There's 12 houses on Potomska Street. Potomska Street's a steep hill. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a very steep hill. One, I don't think a speed bump is appropriate for it. I understand the speed limit's 25 miles an hour. We attempted 25 miles an hour coming here today down that hill. It's quite frightening. You can't do 25 down that hill. You wouldn't want to. You could, but you wouldn't want to. Further, the street has been neglected for, well, I've been at 115 Wamsutter for 40 years. All the time there, that street's been neglected. It's getting undermined by runoff from Iroquois Street at the top of the private section of Potomska. This street is quite undulated. There are sinkholes near the storm drains. The center lane and the right lane of that street, the east side, is impassable because of the potholes, the undulation, and the sinkholes. There's one passable lane on the west side of the street. It's only passable because I think it was the gas company 4 years ago put a line in there, and the street is relatively well paved. However, if there's any cars parked on Potomska Street, they're going to park on that side, which is the nice side. So you can't really go down the street if you wanted to fast because of all the potholes in it.
There's already speed bumps everywhere.
Built-in speed bumps, yes, if you would. As my wife said, it's quite difficult to get up the street in the wintertime. You need to keep your momentum. If there's a speed bump on the street, and I don't know, it doesn't say on the petition apparently where it would be located, but if it's near the bottom, you're going to lose any momentum, and you're going to end up parking on June Street in the winter, and you'll get a ticket because it's a parking ban in the wintertime because of snow removal. If the street needs anything, it needs to be ripped up, reconstructed, and resurfaced. It's a disaster. There is no cross traffic. I know a number of people have talked about cross traffic. It's a private street at the top. There are 9 houses on Wamsutter on the private end that feed it. A couple of houses come off of Walnut Hill into the center of Potomska, and there are a couple of cars that come down from Iroquois. I know the cars, I've lived there all that time. I know my neighbors, it doesn't get a lot of traffic. If people were gonna cut through, it would be more difficult to go up Zenith through Iroquois down the hill. It's just easier to go May Street down to June Street and vice versa. So I don't think the traffic's an issue. There aren't any children there, and I don't think there's been children in for 2 decades on Potomska Street. So, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, move on to 4K. Bruce Brooks requests installation of speed humps on Carlisle Street. Name and address, please.
Amy West, 38 Carlisle Street. Yes, please to the speed bumps. Carlisle Street is a short street, only 1 block long, but it's between June and Lovell, parallel to Chandler. And so a lot of people use it as a cut-through. The end of the street that intersects with June is a hill, and so they will come down the hill, building up a good amount of speed. We do now have a number of families on the street with small children. This has been a perennial problem. I remember that we had a neighbor who was a police officer of some sort, and he would shout at the people to slow down as they zipped through. So, yes, please. We love the ones on Lovell. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, 4L. Johannia Cherry requests installation of speed humps on Manor Street. Anybody here for that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. 4M. Sorry, I did that already. No, same one. Just the same petitioner, different street. 4M, Johannia Cherry requests installation of speed hump on Hawthorne Avenue. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hand. Oh, to the chair, just one person just raised their hand.
Okay.
To Speaker Luca Leon, you may unmute and begin your testimony.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barbara Leone. I live at 20 Hartshorn Avenue. We are located just about across from Rupert Street. Our street runs parallel between May and Chandler, and it is a very, very popular and dangerous road in terms of people cutting through. My concern is that Rupert, Manor, and Underwood all connect to Hartshorn. It's a very short street, but people use it to try to avoid the lights at the intersection of Chandler and June and May and June. It is a lovely street. It's a beautiful neighborhood, and we would like to keep it that way. It is safe, but it is not safe in terms of the traffic patterns because of the massive amounts of people speeding up and down our street, particularly, well, at all hours of the day, but particularly during commute times. Our house is one of the only homes, there are not very many driveways on our street. And so, you know, backing out of our driveway is sometimes treacherous. And because it's a small and fairly narrow street and there aren't a lot of driveways, we do have many homes on the street and many residents because they are multifamily residences. And so many occupants means a lot of cars parking on both sides of the street. During winter ban, it's not as much of a problem, except for when there are huge snowbanks and people can't see around them, and they're still observing excessive amounts of speed coming up and down the street. We do have a lot of elderly folks, a lot of children, and a lot of residents, myself included, who have dogs in the neighborhood. And just watching people sometimes, because they're parked on both sides of the street with their doors open, just elderly taking their time, or, you know, people trying to unload groceries out of their vehicles, get their children out of their vehicles. They've got their car doors open. And people take these 3 streets, Manor, Rupert, and Underwood, and onto Hartshorn, and they fly. And it's dangerous, and it's frightening. And for that reason, here at 20 Hartshorn, we absolutely, without question, are requesting speed humps. And if you decide to put them in, please put them in front of my home. And if you tell me when they're coming to install them, I will help to install those speed humps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else online?
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
Alrighty. Move on to 4N, Paul, which is kind of part of it. 4M, Paul DePaulo requests installation of speed humps on Underwood Street between Hawthorns and Ave and May Street. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. 4O, Jennifer Cleary requests installation of 2 permanent speed humps at the bottom of both hills on Moreland Green Drive.
Hello.
Name and address, please.
Jennifer Cleary, 45 Moreland Green Drive. Okay, so we've had the temporary speed humps before a few years ago, and what they did was they put them on, like, so here's my house, like, I'm number 45, and it's going up towards, like, you're leaving, but people would speed over them, trucks would go over them, and they broke. So we need more like 41 Moreland, which is right near where Cooks Brook is, and then after 46 Moreland, which is right before, like, it's right before you go up, like, the extension of the development. Because people, they speed down, like, we have kids in the neighborhood that are right on, like, right across the street from me. My son's 9 years old. He goes outside and, you know, you see these people just fly, and even at nighttime, I can hear them fly by my house, like NASCAR circuit fast, like 50 to 60 miles an hour. I mean, I understand that, you know, you come in from that extended part and you just, you know, they want to, you know, speed to get out of the development because it's a long road. But, you know, there's so many kids in the neighborhood. I yell at some of the people, slow down, and they still don't listen. So I actually had an instance once where my daughter was little, and there was a guy that he came in the neighborhood, came by my house. Oh no, he was coming towards, he was like leaving, and for some reason he lost control of the car, and like this car, like he went up over the curb into my driveway, was like this close from hitting my mother's car. So people really, they speed way too fast.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Come on up, please. Name and address.
My name's Mark Casper, and I live at 79 Moreland Green Drive. You know, we've lived there since the neighborhood was built. I've been there since 2000. I think we moved in April of 2000. A little up the hill from where she's located. I work from home, so, you know, it's like passive surveillance all day. I can tell you there's not a lot of speeding. I can tell you that I see multiple people walking, not on the sidewalks because they're not great, but in the street. There's no issues. I don't know of any pedestrian issues that I've seen. And we did have speed bumps there before, and I may be incorrect in this, but I think there was a petition that went out, and they asked if they want to reinstall. Is that correct? Did that happen at one time?
Commissioner?
Yeah, through the chair. So I believe at that time there was a questionnaire that went out to all of the, Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a questionnaire that went out to the residents. And it was pretty split in terms of the support for that particular set of speed humps.
But they didn't come back in, so it must
They were not,
been.
that's correct.
So the majority must have prevailed and did not want them.
Just a correction, the request was because they were at their 2 years of the temporary. The
Oh.
question was, did you want permanent
Yeah.
or not? And it was split about 50-50, and in consultation with the district counselor at the time, the decision was to relocate to a different street and not install permanent.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't believe there's been I don't know of any pedestrian accidents, and it's a beautiful neighborhood to walk in. You know, people are always in the street all day long walking in that street, not on the sidewalks, and it doesn't seem to be an issue. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ethan Kearns. I live in Moreland Green Drive. I just wanted to say that if we were putting in 2 permanent speed humps in this neighborhood, it would be a waste of taxpayers' money. At the bottom of the hill, it will prevent people from traveling up during snowstorms. People have problems traveling during the snow already. If we put them at the bottom of the hill, that's just going to cause a nightmare. Many people have talked about suspensions, and that would cause much damage to not only neighborhood cars in the area, but also city vehicles that have to travel back and forth, whether it be leaf collection or any garbage collection or anything else like that. We've had multiple instances of speed humps in the area, radar installations, and they have been removed, as you just said, because the citizens basically did not want them. People do not race in that area. I travel that way regularly. I walk that way regularly. It's not a thoroughfare. It's not a pass-through. We don't have, it's one way in, one way out, and it's all cul-de-sacs. So it's not people are using it as a cut-through to speed through to get to other neighborhoods as well. It's just pretty much a quiet area. And those speed humps would not really benefit the majority of the people in that neighborhood. It would only benefit maybe 1 or 2. So I just don't think the cost layout would be necessary for the neighborhood itself. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Just say your name and city of residence.
Yes, my name is Mario, live in 71 Moreland Green Drive. I'm completely against the bump. No question about it. We have a great neighbor there. And the point is then, the person who said that we need a speed bump is the person who actually is waiting for everybody in front of her house, waiting people down. So in the winter, the whole year round, she's just waiting us down, then we had to slow down. And number 2, I am involved with a lot of sports in the city of Worcester, especially in soccer. And I have a lot of people asking me when they come from around Worcester County, they say, Mario, what's going on? Worcester is the city of the bumps. And I say, what kind of bump you're talking about? I say, we have a lot of them too. But at the same time, it's kind of like people know then when they come to the city of Worcester, what they see is hundreds and hundreds of bumps. And I agree. Like some lady was talking about against in Holy Cross area. What do you expect for an 18, 19, 20 years old kid? He would speed up. But when they come and tell me, Mario, my car broke down because of this, all about speed bumps. So I'm telling you, we have a great neighbor there, and I don't think we need it in there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anybody online?
To the chair, we have 1 person on Zoom, to Speaker Carol Manila. You can go ahead and mute and provide a testimony.
Hi.
Hello.
This is Carol Manila. I'm from 6 Pinebrook Lane in Worcester. And I've lived in the area on Pinebrook Lane, which is right off of Moreland Green Drive, for about 20 years now. And it has become much of a race car driver's track. I walk the area frequently on the sidewalks and try to cross the street. We do not have any crosswalks in the area, so I'm hoping not to get picked off by anybody driving so fast. And I think the people that don't want the installation of the speed bumps are the ones that want to keep going fast over them. Because being that the city of Worcester is a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, I've yet to see anyone go 25 miles an hour in the development other than myself. So very few people will go 25 miles an hour in the development. And people from the area towards the top of the hill, where people have spoken tonight, want to get out of the development quickly. They don't want to have to slow down for the speed bumps, and they do want to do it faster. And you are going to wreck your suspension if you go over them quickly. So you do have to go slower. And I think there are a lot of kids. Mine are older now, but there are a lot of kids, and I've seen them, and it's like you can't even let them chase a ball. You can't even let them do anything because no one goes slow. They are racing down the hill. They're racing up the hill. There's this one kid from another area, not directly in our development, who flies down the hill on an electric scooter or his electric bike and flies. And I have to look for him every single time. And I saw him for the first time this year, just this past week. And I said, uh-oh, the weather's getting nice again. And I've asked him nicely, I'm like, you really should be careful. I said, the people drive really fast around here, and he rides it in the street. So I think Jen did a really good job about asking for the permanent speed bumps. I really think they're important.
Thank you. All set?
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, move on to 4P. Barry Steven Sullivan requests installation of speed humps on Fisk Street. Anybody hearing that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands.
All right. For Q, Councilor Morris Bergman and Councilor Atal Hajai request installation of speed humps on the northern section of Moore Ave. Anybody hearing that? Anybody online?
To the chair, one person is raising their hands on Zoom. To speaker with phone number ending in 1679, you can press *6 to unmute.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Murray. I live at 24 Moore Ave. And I'm requesting a speed bump also. However, I've listened to everyone else's reasons for asking myself, and I can certainly understand their need. Moore Ave has become a cut-through, basically for people who don't want to wait for the lights at Moreland Street, whether they're on Pleasant Street or Moreland Street. It goes on all day. It has sit in traffic on Pleasant Street, and as soon as they get the chance to drive up Moore Ave, they're going 50, 60 miles an hour up the street. There aren't any sidewalks on High Ridge Road or Moreland Street, so there are a lot of people walking dogs on Moore Ave on the sidewalk. There are also young children in the neighborhood. 2 of them are my grandchildren next door. So I've lived here for 42 years, and the traffic has just gone out of sight as far as cars using it as cut-through. Additionally, there's the stop sign that was at the top of the street has been missing. We requested a replacement. Nothing's ever been done about it. I just would like, I don't know where you would put a speed bump, but the other thing is that with listening to other people talk about the speed limits of 25 miles per hour, they're not being enforced in the city. And why have a rule that's not enforced? Because it's too much with the number of people driving as fast as they are. I'd appreciate any consideration as to whether a speed bump would be appropriate on the street. And if you can let me know about that, that would be great. So I would request either a speed hump or I don't know what else you can do to alleviate some of the speeding going up and down Moore Ave throughout the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I can identify is Nicholas Modios. You can go ahead and mute.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening. My name is Nick Modios. I live on the northerly part of Moore Ave. And I must tell you, it's interesting to see how people can literally live right across the street from each other and have a different perspective on the need for a speed bump. So I live right across the street, in essence, from Ms. Murray, and I'll be honest, I just don't see the need. I mean, I do work for most of the day downtown, so I'm here obviously in the mornings, weekends, evenings, but I just don't see the need. It's a short street from Pleasant up to High Ridge. I think post-hearing, if you do the analytics, you'll see that really is a very small number of people that use this road. So I would be against it, and I'm hoping the committee would take that position. And just one last question through the chair to the commissioner. When did we go from speed bump to speed hump? Because most of the folks that are calling in are saying speed bump, and you folks in City Hall are saying speed hump. So I'm just curious when that lingo changed.
Commissioner Raleigh.
Through the chair, so the term speed bump generally referred to the sort of older style, which were much more compact and abrupt. Speed humps are about 12 feet deep, I think.
12 to 14.
12 to 14 feet deep, so it's a more gradual hump that can be comfortably driven at 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, we'll go to 4R. Brian DuTremble requests installation of temporary speed humps on Wamsura Avenue. Anybody here on that?
To the chair, we have two people raising their hands on Zoom, including the petitioner.
Okay.
I will go ahead and recognize Speaker Brian DuTremble. Hello, you can unmute and begin testimony.
Hey, sorry about that. We've had a lot of advocates for car suspensions and for saving people from inconvenience and increased police presence. And I'm glad that those things have been well represented, but I also wanted to speak up for the children that live on our street. I think it might be helpful for some residents to think of children as possible future police officers if they need more motivation to keep them safe. The issue on our road is that we get a lot of people using it to avoid the May Street, June Street light, and students from Worcester State and parents speeding through to get their kids to the nearby May Street school. And there's no stop sign at the intersection with Marcy's, so there are a lot of near accidents. I requested temporary speed humps, but I'm not attached to those in particular. Permanent ones would be fine, or a ramp, or I think one resident suggested using spike strips, which would be fine with me too. And anything to get people to not use our road to test their acceleration would be great. I understand that speeding and hatred of pedestrians are essential parts of Worcester's culture, and I want to respect that, but I also want to see my daughter grow up, so thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker I can identify is Jeff Fulton.
All right. Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. All right. I just wanted to voice my support for Brian's petition for the installation of speed humps on Wamsutta. I also have young children and see a real significant number of folks cutting past, as Brian said, cutting the May and June traffic light, especially at peak commute times. So they tend to cut down the street at fairly inappropriate speeds. He also mentioned there isn't a stop sign at the end of the block with Marcy. So it just contributes to an overall hazardous situation for a street with a number of young kids. So very similarly, just in the interest of keeping the kids safe, support the petition for the installation of speed humps.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And the next speaker I can identify is Jeff Burrow. Hello?
Hi. Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes, I also want to support the petition as well. My wife and I live at 23 Wamsutta Avenue, and I agree with the points that were already raised by the prior two speakers. I agree wholeheartedly. There are a number of houses on the street with children, and the speeding that goes between Marcy and May Street as people try to avoid lights creates a major hazard for children. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
Alrighty. Move on to 4S. Alyssa Rogers requests installation of speed humps on Clover Street in the vicinity of Edlin Street and Knox Street. Anybody on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. For T, John Wadsworth and Ann McCrae request installation of speed hump on Grandview Avenue between Main Street and Abington Street. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, one person, I believe one person is raising their hands. It's John W. They just unraised their hands, so there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. For you, Daniel Didi requests installation of speed humps on June Street between the intersection of June Street and May Street to the vicinity of 341 June Street.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. First of all, how are you folks doing? It has been a rather long evening, to say the least, but to draw an analogy, you're on the 30-yard line. You're on the 30-yard line, and you're going to push the ball over the goal line in about a half an hour or so. So anyways, little levity. We appreciate your time. For the public record, Dan Didi, 223 June Street, Worcester. To my left is my bride, Ann P. Didi, 223 June Street in Worcester. As I had said to the City Council this past August when I presented this petition in the public records, the open public meeting section, you know what I'm trying to say, drawing a blank. I had said that I had submitted the petition for a speed bump, a speed hump, some type of speed remediation. I actually like the idea really much of these spikes. I think that will solve any problem on June Street. And if I may, it'll solve a lot of problems here in the city. So my request, in all sincerity, is to look at what type of speed remediation can you do on June Street. And just to give you a picture, you're at June Street and May Street, set of lights, proceeding, taking a left if you're heading up May Street and going down June Street, heading towards Mill Street. A little bit of an incline there. I have seen cars, that's where automobiles tend to build up speed. As I exit, we have a corner lot, our garage is on Walnut Hill. As we're looking to go out onto June Street, either right or left, there's a bit of a hill there, and I can see the cars coming down, and that's where the speed really occurs. And from probably, well, a little bit after May Street, then down heading towards Mill Street, it's flat. And we know that work was done over the past year or two with Mill Street, and containing the speed over there. I think where I'm speaking of, that has become, in some respects, the new Mill Street. We have been in this same location for 35 plus years, actually be 36 this past August. We have seen the neighborhood change. When we first bought the house, there was the estate across the street the diocese owned. They sold the property, and Botany Bay Construction built 5 houses. I joked with my wife yesterday because in one of the houses across the street was a little posse about 10 kids, 10 kids. And I saw then that, wow, things have really changed. You may know or not know that on the side of June Street that we live on, there is no sidewalk. There is no sidewalk. So there is a bus stop, Buckley Road. There are kids who live at the top of Walnut Hill who walk down to that bus stop, who are walking on the side of the street where there isn't a sidewalk. You may also recall about a year, maybe 2 years ago, my fading memory, where there was a UPS driver killed on June Street at the bend there just prior to the former St. Charles Borromeo Church. You've been here a long time this evening. There's some folks still behind me who want to speak as well. In summation, I welcome the opportunity to have further discussion on how we can address speed, not only on June Street, but as I said back in August to the City Council, to address speed across the city. There is a 25-mile-an-hour ordinance, if you will. It was a good faith effort to control speed. The reality is that's not happening. Being here at the end, we get to hear a lot from people, and throughout the years, there have been police there on June Street, but as has been stated earlier this evening, there is a manpower issue, but that won't solve the problem. That won't solve the problem. And I don't have an answer for you this evening. I'd love to work with you to develop an answer. And again, to complete the process, I had suggested a speed bump or speed hump, but more importantly, some type of speed remediation on June Street. But let's not forget our neighbors across the city as well. And I've heard that loud and clear from many of the folks who have spoken prior to me this evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, officer, commissioner. Look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you. Looking forward to that cup of coffee.
For the record, I invited the council to sit in my front porch and just watch the traffic go by.
To the chair, we do have one person raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay.
To Speaker Christopher Leo Sakos. Hello, you may begin the testimony.
I live at 211 June Street on the corner of June and Buckley, and I am in support of any type of speed monitoring or speed bumps. I'm going to keep this brief because I have two very young kids that need to go to bed. But we walk, there's no sidewalk on our side. We have to cross the street where there are two blind spots every single time we walk our dog or walk with our children to the playground at Columbus Park. And we are in support of the speed bumps. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the chair, we have one person who kept raising their hands. I will recognize them now to Speaker John W. If you want to provide testimony, please go ahead and unmute. Okay, not seeing the speaker unmuting, I think we can move on to the next item.
All right, we move on to 4V. Deborah Army requests installation of speed humps on Parsons Hill Drive. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair,
wait,
we have.
You got somebody here. Name and address.
Nicholas Safakis, 65 Parsons Hill. On several occasions, I've been to the police department and we have set up speed traps, and they've kept it there for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's helped. But now it's back again, and I'm requesting the speed bumps to be put down. And there's 3 new families that just moved into the neighborhood between Memorial Drive and my house, and their children are anywhere between 2 and 7. And I'm looking out for them. But the other day, my wife had a directional pulled into our driveway, and she got passed on the left-hand side when she was backing up. And now we got cars where cars passing each other on the street. So I'm trying to request speed bumps. And you can put it in front of my house. I'm only 7 houses up from Memorial Drive, so. But that bend, that corner is really dangerous. They got 2 cars parked on both sides, and it's tough to get through there. But the cars are coming down at an enormous speed. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next speaker on Zoom that I can identify is Stephanie Kingsford.
Hello, my name's Stephanie Kingsford. I'm actually at 51A Timrod Drive, which is right off of Parsons, but I have to drive through Parsons to get to my street, and I walk on Parsons all the time. I actually submitted a petition for a speed bump on Parsons a couple years ago, but nothing had come of it. So I am for it, and it's really like a free-for-all up here. We're on the edge of the city. There's never any type of patrols anywhere near here. The speeding has been out of control with cars, dirt bikes, getting up to speeds of probably at least 60 miles per hour. I'm not really sure how they can get that much speed in the small distance from Timrod to Parsons, but that's what I've seen. There have been cats and dogs that have both been killed on Parsons because of speeding. Even just yesterday, I was out walking, I had 2 cars zip right by me, and I just couldn't even believe how fast they were going. Another issue is another adjoining street, which is Nutmeg. Nutmeg actually has a really big hill, so people just speed down Nutmeg and go right onto Parsons and continue speeding down that hill too. So I'm closer to the upper part of Parsons. I would assume both ends of Parsons need a speed bump. I'm not sure which one the petition is for. But what else was I going to say? There was actually a really bad accident recently on Goddard Memorial, right behind my house, and we were told we would start seeing more patrols in the area, and we haven't seen anything. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next speaker I can identify is Sean Hill.
Hi, how's everybody doing? We actually went in front of this committee about 15 years ago requesting speed humps. So I want to thank you for your swift response on everything. I reiterate the fact that we need speed humps here. This is actually one of the better paved streets in the city. So that and it being a wide road, people take advantage of that and speed. They need us to be a speed hump, speed bump, whatever you want to call it, on both sides of Timrod, like the last speaker was saying, from Timrod to Goddard in both directions. And I also agree that people fly down that ledge crest as well. Nutmeg, whatever it's called. But something has to happen. Cats getting killed, dogs getting killed.
Cars getting hit.
Cars have been hit. Our mailbox got taken out. Hopefully it doesn't take 15 years to figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next speaker I can identify is DSW65. Please state your name and city of residence, and you may begin your testimony.
Sure. My name's Donald Williamson, and I'm at 65 Moreland Green Drive in Worcester.
Yeah, we did that one already.
And I apologize. I'm just joining. I've been just struggling to get in, but I just got in, so I appreciate your attention on it. But anyway, I understand, the question is speed bumps along Moreland Green Drive. And, I'm opposed to these only because I've been here for 27 years. And, I understand that, we have 4-way stop signs just about at every intersection. Adding a few more speed bumps, and I've been almost a victim of this myself when you're driving down. People come to almost a dead stop when they see those things, when they come upon them. And I think it's, okay, it's, you have a rear end accident or something when someone just suddenly realizes there's a speed bump in front of them. And I think they do more harm than good in the neighborhood. I understand that on any given roadway, people may speed. But I'm not sure speed bumps are the solution to everything. I've seen them all over the city. And, I feel like it's on this street anyway, it's just overkill. So I'm opposed to the speed bumps, especially permanent ones. We had the temporary rubber mat type ones, last summer. And again, I think they cause more disruption to traffic. People stop, and I know the idea is that the idea is they do slow cars down, no doubt about that, but a lot of people will just come to a dead stop in front of them. And, like I said, we have four-way stop signs at just about every intersection coming through Moreland Green Drive when you come in off Moreland Street. So I am opposed to permanent speed bumps.
Thank you, and there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, we go to 4W. Councilor Jenny Pasillo requests installation of speed humps on Flag Street between Pleasant Street and Audubon Road. Anybody hear that? Come on up, please. Say name and residence.
Hi, James and Pamela Sachs, 75 Flag Street. I won't go into the gory details of the deer that the woman from Shrewsbury bounced into my driveway or the many other crashes. I sent you an email and photographs of 3 crashes from the past 6 weeks on Flag Street. I'm not exactly familiar with Councilor Paciello's petition, but that section of Flag Street, if there would be an ability to put speed humps in, would be a logical place. We live down the hill, and my letter, the photographs and everything else address the issue of the fact that what happens, there are no 25-mile-an-hour signs, or not sufficient ones, on Flag Street going toward the school. I have 2 of the blue ones that are put up that, like many of the other speakers tonight, I tell people to slow down, they give me the finger, they throw garbage at me. It's really a pleasant place to be. But I guess my main concern, and I know it's late, so I won't drag this out. Cars come down that hill, I call it the Flag Street Motor Speedway. Cars and trucks, I've seen them going 65 miles an hour. I've seen them pass each other. They did some work down by the school to supposedly soften that corner. I was going around it at 26 miles an hour the other day when a red pickup truck passed me on, let's see, so if I was turning onto Flag Street, he would have passed me on my left. He was going at least 40 miles an hour. There were parents walking up the street with their kids to the school. My letter pretty much says what I think needs to be done, and if you folks could at least see the way clear to putting signs in that would prevent the ridiculous occurrences that I watch day in and day out from my driveway, it would be most appreciated. You want to say something?
No. Thank you.
And I did send you a letter today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody online?
And the next speaker we can identify is phone number ending in 3578. Please press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin testimony.
Hi, my name is Amy Edmondo, and I'm here with my husband, Bruce Maluka, and we live at 17 Flag Street. I'm actually out of the country on vacation right now, and I've stayed on the phone for 3 hours because I believe this is such an important issue. When I moved to Worcester in 2022, they were laying the pipes for the natural gas, so Flag Street was closed. Had I known the traffic on Flag Street was as bad as it was, I would have not have bought my house. Within 1 year of living at our house, we invested over $6,000 installing a fence, purely because of the traffic on Flag Street. I have a 4-year-old, and he's very precarious. He's very curious. We have installed a top lock on the top of my door. We've installed a gate lock on the gate. When he's outside, I put a chain across the driveway. I put cones out to say, please slow down. I personally have invested my own money in putting up speed limit signs and also putting slow down signs, and people do not care. It is incredibly dangerous, and a child will die. We have neighbors on all of the cross streets who have kids who cannot even walk to school. We are half a mile from Flag Street School, and the kids cannot walk to school because they have to ride the bus because there are no sidewalks on Flag Street. There was a failed petition to add sidewalks to Flag Street, and so we have no sidewalks. We have to walk in the road. It's an incredibly narrow road. I know people say you narrow the road, it makes traffic slower. It does not. It's an incredibly narrow road that has traffic in both directions. Should my child find his way into the driveway and out onto the road, he will get hit and he will die. I don't think people think this is serious. I have brought it up many times to all of the counselors that were campaigning and door knocked at my door. I have brought it up in neighborhood meetings. And people just laugh me off. Oh, you're not going to get anything done on Flag Street. It's incredibly serious. I would gladly have the speed hump put in front of my house, 17 Flag Street. I have no problem with that. In addition, I had the pleasure of participating in the Worcester Police Civilian Academy because I was so curious about how they do traffic enforcement. I spent 11 weeks, 3 hours every Wednesday, participating in this course, and I encourage other people to join it. I have a lot of respect for Worcester Police, but their traffic enforcement team is less than 20 people. 20 people out of a force of 450, that is 5%. People keep hemming and hawing, oh, we need to increase the number of officers on the force so that they can do traffic enforcement. 5% of the 50 officers that they need is another 2 to 3 officers. That's not going to make any difference. People drive with impunity because they know that they will not be pulled over for their speed because it is not enforced. I don't know what needs to change at Worcester PD. Maybe if they could release a report of how much resources go towards traffic enforcement, the measures that they're taking, the number of officers that are in charge of enforcement, I think the community would really appreciate that because it's really hard to see, what they're doing to encourage people to drive the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next person I can identify is they just unraised their hands, so there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom. Oh, actually, sorry. They just raised their hand again. To Speaker Arnie, if you'd like to speak, please unmute and you can begin the testimony. They are not unmuting, so I am assuming that they do not want to speak, so we can move on to the next item to the chair.
Thank you. 4X, Councillor Atal Hajiai, on behalf of Brianne Urban, requests speed humps on Delawanda Drive. Anybody hearing that? Anybody online?
Through Chair, we do have one person raising their hand. To Speaker Carrie Gorham, you may unmute and begin the testimony.
Hi, my name is Carrie Gorham. I live at 81 Delawanda Drive, and I am generally in favor of a speed bump, but I would love more information as to the proposed location. And I must say I have learned a great deal during this session, and I appreciate all the people that have spoken before me. It's really given me a lot to think about because when I came into this, I was definitely for the speed bump, but now there are other factors that I've become made aware of. For instance, I appreciate some of the comments that people have made about the worry of someone driving really fast over a speed hump and losing control. My road in particular is a wide road and it's straight. I live at the upper part of Delawanda and it's very wide and straight. And I learned recently, I went to this great event at JMAC and it had to do with urban renewal and planning, and learned that the wider the road, we just naturally as humans will drive faster. And I'm not going to counter the prior caller who said just because a road is smaller doesn't mean people go slower, because I get that. So I'm not saying one proves the other, but certainly on a wider straight road, I do think it's just, in a lot of people's nature to drive a little bit faster. So for me personally, I would love a speed bump. I don't know what else to say. I lost my train of thought, but that's my feeling. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To the next speaker, Arnie. You may unmute and begin testimony. Hello?
What's wrong with this? Hi. Hi,
Hello.
this is Gail. Hi, this is Gail Ham. Oh, it keeps getting muted.
We lost him.
To the chair, seems like the speaker is having issue with their mic, so I will leave them permission for now, and then we can move on
Sounds
to the
good.
next item.
Move on to 4Y. Councilor Atel Haji on behalf of Gordon John Davis requests installation of speed humps on Vernon Street. All right, sir. Name and address, please.
Thank you, Mr.
Are we
Chairman.
on? Hi. Oh.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. She can wait.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, my name is Rich Reardon. I live at 30 Varnum at the intersection with Cleveland. I don't know, you've heard this before tonight, but it's a cut-through street. People trying to avoid a traffic signal at Curtis and Stafford cut through our street. Unfortunately, it's also a cut-through street for a lot of pedestrian traffic, school-age pedestrians going to and from Gates Lane and Our Lady of Angels schools. So there's a lot of kids on the street. There's some old farts like me. And it's a problem with people speeding because they're trying to make time. This morning, in fact, I saw a van with a school bus light rack on its roof doing about 40 past my house. And I know you can't persuade people not to use a cut-through street, but I think speed bumps might have the effect of dissuading some and certainly discouraging 40 miles an hour. So I hope you can give it consideration, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Name and address, please.
Gail.
How's it going?
21 Varnum Street. And I rise because I would also like to support the idea of speed bumps
Okay.
on Varnum Street. I have been on Varnum Street for over 45 years, and the neighborhood's changed a lot, especially with the amount of traffic that comes up Main Street and comes up Stafford Street. So Varnum Street's a convenient cut through to try and avoid the lights and try and get to the other side quicker. So we would appreciate the consideration.
Thank you. You can go on to, I think, Arnie online.
To the speaker of Arnie, thank you for waiting. You can begin
Hi,
your
thank you
testimony
for,
now.
thanks for the second chance. We live it's Arnie and Gail Ham at 13 Flag Street. We are also in favor of the speed humps. We've lived here over 30 years. In addition to previously mentioned concerns, safety of children and dog walkers, of course, Flag Street has its unique geography of being hilly and narrow. In addition, something not mentioned yet, traffic pulling out from the side streets such as Berwick Road and Gaskell, very steep inclines. There are trees limiting visibility. And when drivers are pulling out, if someone's speeding, they're not in the sight of view of that car. So that's another concern. So we are strongly in favor of speed bumps, speed humps on Flag Street, and we are between Pleasant and Audubon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, we go to 4Z. Catherine O'Leary requests installation of temporary speed humps on Lovell Street, going uphill toward May Street in the vicinity of the Rotary. Anybody here on that? No online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, now we're moving down to the 10-yard line. We're at number 5A. Mayor Joseph M. Petty requests installation of 2 speed humps on Cowden Street. Name and address, please. Can we combine 5A and 5B, because Stephen Smith requests installation also on Cowden Street?
Sure.
Perfect, thank you.
Peter Cromwork, 18 Calvin Street, and brought several neighbors came
All
came
right.
along. We're invested. We would love to get speed humps or bumps. We live on Cowden Street, which has unfortunately become a cut-through from Webster Street to Hurd, especially since there were 4 stop signs put on Clover and Hurd. So people are all going to Hurd, and they're just zipping up the hill where we live. We love our neighborhood. I mean, when I first moved in there, one of my neighbors who's no longer with us said, it's a little taste of heaven. I'd like to get it back to that. It's not exactly that with the people just speeding up and down the hill. We've got children who live on our street. There's no sidewalks, it's narrow. And so we would just love, I would love to get like 3 or 4 permanent humps if I had my druthers. I really would. But we'll take what we can get. I mean, if we have to start with bumps, but I would love to get the humps right from the get-go, because they're going to speed just as much in the wintertime. That's not going to slow people down unless there's ice. Maybe that will slow them down, But anyway, we really would appreciate your help with this. Did anybody else want to add anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gabriel Lavendel, 23 Cowden Street. I echo everything that Peter just said, and I'd also like to add that I think we're in a unique position with our proximity to Hurd Street Elementary and Hadwin Park. There's a lot of people who walk in the community. I know that Gary, who's here today, actually got brushed up against by a car that was speeding past. We also cohabitate with a family of foxes, and unfortunately one of those foxes was killed the other day. And it's just a matter of time until that's someone's pet or kid or even worse. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah. Name and address, please.
Gary Wilcox, 27 Cowden Street. As Gabe just said, I got brushed up against the car. One of my neighbors was across the street walking her dog. I was on the other side, and this car came around the corner, and a lot of times they cut the corner so tightly. I've seen cars hit that curb before, coming up, from off of Clover Street. But it basically was like, what the hell? I just got brushed right against myself from that car. And I looked at her, she goes, yeah, you almost got hit. But it was like, they treat it, it's a hill, but it's not the biggest hill in the city for sure. But it's a good slope, and I swear these people think they're going up a massive mountain, whether they're going up or down. I've even seen school buses, the smallest school buses going down the street way too fast. And I just don't want to see anything happen. There's a lot of kids there. There's a school right up the street, Hurd Street School, and they just go too fast. They're cutting over from all different directions, especially where Clover has speed bumps and the 4 stop signs, which is a great idea on Hurd Street, because there was so many accidents down there too. But I think I spoke enough, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Is anybody online?
We have one person raising their hand, to Speaker Mickey Burnick. You may unmute and begin your testimony.
Hi, my name is Aaron Burtnick. We live at 15 Cowden Street, and we do just want to echo that everyone has said what everyone has said so far. We have also 2 young daughters, and they love to play outside and often in the driveway. We're very fortunate to have friends, other children who live right across the street, and we want them to feel safe to be able to get together with their friends. Also, the street doesn't have a sidewalk, so they'll be walking to and from school, and if cars are speeding up and down the street, it's hard to feel safe for our kids to get where they need to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. To ensure there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, we'll move on to 5C. Harold Boucher requests installation of speed humps on the straight section of Olean Street. Name and address, please.
That's Boucher.
Boucher, sorry about that.
Thank you.
French.
My wife, Elsie.
Okay.
It's Olean Street, in case you didn't know it, is it's about a 1-mile stretch of road from Reservoir in Holden.
Yep. I'm familiar with Olean
Tatnick
Street.
Square. It'd be an easy place to put a couple of speed bumps, I think, along the way. And also, on those occasions when we have had a police presence, let's say, along the roadway somewhere, things slow down beautifully for a while. Then that has to be occasional, and but I think between the two things, we'd have a wonderful situation to protect these families with children and pets that walk along there, and we don't have sidewalks for some of it, you know. Anyway, there's just a story on the side here, Elsie.
Hi, so I'm Elsie Uffelman, and I'm at 152 Olean Street. And we've lived there for 42 years. And yes, we can understand how the traffic has exploded all over probably the country. And I sympathize with you having to kind of figure this out. But yeah, police, in our first 3 administrations, they would come and it would really slow the traffic down, and you'd have to kind of reinforce it every 6 months or so. But this is more of an act of desperation. We need to do something. The police did survey the speed on Olean Street, and it's about a 1 mile stretch from Dawson Road to Tatnick Square. And the highest clock speed was 73 miles per hour. And I've seen people actually go faster than that, because in front of our house, cars could just go like that. You can't, it's a blur, literally. And one time there's Dawson Road makes a curve, there's a curve at Dawson Road, and someone missed the curve, went airborne, and went through trees about 4 inches in diameter, and continued on to graze a pickup truck, and then went into the 2nd floor of the house that was on the corner. So the speed is dramatic. And so maybe we can just do a trial and see how it works out, and see what the neighbors think and what people think, and just try it out. Because I don't know, there are pros and cons to speed humps, and it would be nice to do at least a temporary. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anybody else?
All set?
Carolyn Soma, 85 Olean Street. First of all, I got some thank yous. You, sir. We came last year. You brought us data, people, all kinds of data, which you have now, of what the speeds are on Olean. You sent us a police officer sneaking on Juniper so he could catch those people coming flying in from Holden, and that worked for a good while. But when they're gone, that's why I said all these other people we've listened to, we've had it all. We've had the data, we've had the police, and the minute that goes away, things change. But something new occurred. Thank you. You put in a stop sign at Olean and Moore. I gotta tell you, anecdotally, since I go there every single day, by having to stop dead on Moa and then decide if you're going to Olean or if you're going to continue to Moore, what a difference that has made, because I live on that side of Olean Street. It has made a huge difference, because before they'd come in from Tatnick, fly in, keep going on Olean, but they can't anymore. So as a stopgap measure, nice. We've got some, I see the difference. But let's talk about our friends, the neighbors from Holden, who come flying in by the reservoirs. It's gorgeous, it's lovely, supposed to be 20 miles an hour, but let me tell you, they ain't going 20 miles an hour. They're flying in, and they got nothing to stop them, and they keep going, except when the old lady's out there with her dog, and I step over because they want to go by Cook's Pond, and they want to go so fast that even my little dog looks up. Well, guess what, folks? I can't stand in the street, although I make a good target. But in any event, thank you for that stop sign. Thank you for the data. Thank you for, what is the third thing? Oh, is the police presence when you could provide it, And boy, I understand, there's not enough police officers to go on every street. But we're going to have to talk about putting something. I don't know if it's 2 or if it's 1, but when you know where Cook's Pond is, it's lovely. We have tons of people who just love coming there with the children. We got the babies going across the street with mamas, and I have to tell you, they make a circle. They go fast there. We could lose so many people. The Dawson dudes, I call them. That's 4 to 5 guys on motorcycles, day in. No, they haven't come out yet. They're coming. The weekends they come. They fly so badly, and it's the same guys. And we're like, what? And once in a while I just play and I take my phone as if that not on, but I hold it up there. They don't care. They just fly. So, thank you, and please, we need at least 1 speed bump, not in front of my house, but I don't want to hear it, but, somewhere there where the pond is. Thank you very much. I'll get on. Man, you gotta wake up. Yeah.
Hi, I'm
Hello.
Marty Heidenfelter, my husband Dennis. I'll echo Caroline. We live at 105 Olean Street, across from Cook's Pond.
We've been there since '89.
Yep, we've been there since September of '89. We have seen, too many car crashes to tell
Way
you.
more than you want to see.
Last summer, we had a rollover down the street. Although it's 40 miles an hour, no one goes 40, I'm sorry, it's 35 miles an hour on our street.
Right.
Oh, it's
We've
25
had
citywide.
We've had somebody rear-end a school bus.
We had, a school
Right in
bus
front of
got
the house.
hit. Let's see, we had cars cruise across our lawn onto our neighbor's lawn, almost into their porch.
Telephone, multiple poles down.
A neighbor further down from us, Debbie, in any event, her husband had a pickup truck. How much does a pickup truck weigh? 2 tons or something? It had a trailer on the back with a vehicle on the trailer, a car going the speed limit, hit it about 6 o'clock in the morning and pushed it up a banking on their lawn. There's a small banking.
Knocked the telephone pole down.
And knocked down the telephone pole. But
But
he
he
was
was
going
only
the
going 30.
speed limit, so we're not too sure. So I totally understand. Put anything that you want on my road. You want to put in those flashing lights on Mill Street? Go right ahead. I welcome it.
Bottom line, Olean has been a notorious cut-through forever.
Forever, it is right, because
From
they come
Holden
from
to Tatnick,
Holden.
From Tatnick to Holden. Commuting in the morning, commuting at night. It's unbelievable.
And we
At
have the
night,
Mustangs on the road
the
that
speeds
go.
are unbelievable. when
2
you-
Mustangs.
At night, especially in
I
the
could
summer.
tell you who they are, but I won't.
And those motorcycles she mentioned. Whoa.
Yes, so anything you could do, Worcester PD would be great. We've
The
had
presence is
cruisers. We even have a state police cruiser in our driveway.
They don't slow down.
They don't slow down. So,
We live right next to a trooper.
nothing happens. So anything that you could do, I would greatly appreciate it, and I know my neighbors would as well.
Thanks, guys.
I talked your
Thank
ears
you.
up. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, we kept you so late.
All right, so I also live on Olean Street.
Okay.
So I'm not for it or against it. I just have some questions. What's the difference between a speed hump and the gradual speed bump?
Commissioner Rowley?
So through the chair, the speed humps are fairly gradual. You can drive those at about 15 miles an hour comfortably, even 20s generally. Okay. There is another type of traffic calming device called a speed table that is more gradual.
Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Speed
that's
table.
about an inch shorter and stretches out another, 6 to
Yeah,
6
so,
to 8 feet?
they're generally 22 feet.
Yeah.
And they are flat topped, and they're about 3 inches high. So you can go up them, level off, and then go down.
So is that the one that's at the Webster Square, when you come out of Green Street?
No, the only
What's that one
ones.
at Webster Square then?
Kelly Square?
Oh no,
Kelly
that's
Square.
a raised crosswalk. That's a little bit different. Same, approximately the same. But we had 2 of them on Holden Street last year.
Okay.
So you can go over those 25 miles per hour comfortably.
Okay.
They're designed for minor arterial collector roads with heavier volume to get the speed, to reduce the speeds to more appropriate levels without the tighter deflection that a speed hump would have.
Okay. Another question. To you, Mrs. DeBro. So I know the police officers are very busy. So I know there's a lot of moving parts in the city of Worcester, especially now that we owe Holden money. Where does that put the city of Worcester to hire more police officers?
So I can't speak on that. That is totally up to the manager and the chief of police.
Okay. All right. Another question I have. So how do we install sidewalks on both sides of Olean Street going from Tatnick Square to Dawson Road?
We can put in a petition for that
Okay.
soon.
Because, I mean, the
Okay.
sidewalks that are there are just useless.
I can do that tomorrow, so.
Okay, thank you.
we'll
Please do
talk.
that.
Yeah,
From
absolutely.
Tatnick Square. I know people are going to lose some frontage, but I think the sidewalks are more important than people, crossing the street or walking in the street. And the traffic study. So I need to know, like, when you'll be doing that. When will we have information on that? Excuse me? I know he did it, but I would like to see it. I've never seen it. So I assume you're going to be doing another traffic study?
Through the chair, just want to confirm, are you referring to the stop sign
No.
installation?
Nope, that would be something totally different.
Okay.
This would be the traffic study to install a speed bump.
To install the speed humps. So all of the locations that we've discussed tonight, plus those that have been petitioned previously, will have their average speed and their 85th percentile speed documented, as well as the traffic volumes on the corridor. And that'll be made available as part of the report back to council. That'll
Okay.
happen next month.
Next question. You're going to list like when it was done, like the time of day, the time of the year, things like that? I think it's very important that you document it right down to the time in the day.
Through the chair, we use a data service that actually collects data throughout the year. So it's representative of conditions throughout the year.
You don't use the same one that MassDOT uses, do you?
Actually, no, we don't. They have a different service they use.
Okay, good. All right, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online?
To the chair, we have one person raising their hands. I will go ahead and recognize Speaker Paul Franco. You may unmute yourself and begin your testimony.
Hi, greetings from 57 Olean Street. Paul Franco here. I've lived at the place of my wife and family since 1990. We've raised 6 children, and we've always had to be very careful of where they play. We'll have them play a little bit more on the Fernside Road because basically Olean Street is a runway that starts around Tatnick Square. It goes all the way to Holden. And it starts usually in the spring with the motorcycles. I know today we heard some motorcyclists, the safe ones, but they're not driving on Olean Street, not the ones that we see. They race up and down the street. They create a hazard to anyone that's in the area. And I guess I just became aware last couple of years of speed humps and speed bumps. I didn't realize you could actually put them on our roads because I think it would be wonderful. And I love my car, and I know there's one thing that a speed hump does is it forces you to slow down. And we unfortunately need that to keep everyone on Olean Street, my good neighbors that you've already heard from, keep them and their families safe, and to make it a more enjoyable experience living on Olean Street. And one thing I've learned from tonight is that I think we're going to buy some stock in those speed hump companies because I've never heard of so many people wanting to get speed humps all over the city. But I really think it's Councilman Rivera. It'd be a great opportunity. It would make a big difference for all of us out here on the west side. And thank you for your time, and I hope you guys have a good evening.
Thank you.
To the chair, the next speaker is DSW 65.
Hi. I wanted to add, because someone brought up a good point regarding the speed bumps, the permanent versus maybe a temporary. And it occurred to me, and I'm at 65 Moreland Green Drive in Worcester, and where the temporary speed bumps were last season, during good weather, they do work, of course, to slow people down. Now, if those were made permanent and they're located near the bottom of a hill, you're going to have people sliding into each other all the time when they come to a stop. And I think there's a world of difference between a permanent speed bump that's going to be located poorly, where, you know, you'll have slides and people jamming their brakes as they come down. You know, it's quite a slope to the roadway through there. So I really like the streets department to look at that closely before they even consider a permanent speed bump, that, you know, something that'll be there in the winter. So just wanted to add that point. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, move on to 5D. Deya Kayed requests installation of speed humps on Paradox Drive. Name and address, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deya Kayed. I live at 5 Paradox Drive. That's my house. I've been living there for almost 10 years. I live there with my wife, 2 sons. One is 7 years old, and the other one is 1.5 years old, who has just started walking. Cars on my streets are flying. There are signs that read children, another sign which I installed last summer that says children playing, slow down. But nothing seems to be working. Around almost 5 years ago, a speeding vehicle hit my parked car on the street. The other car hit my car so badly that my car went up the curb of my property, hit a tree, went to my next door neighbor on 3 Paradox Drive, hit their bush, and landed on top of their electric pole. My car was pushed away at least 25 to 30 yards from where it was parked. My house is the 3rd house before the end of the road where a stop sign is posted. What could have happened if me or one of my family was in that car? It is a residential neighborhood, residential road, where speed limit signs on both ways say 20 miles per hour. I am always worried that a speeding car will hit one of my family or someone else. I want to add to that is Paradox Drive is a very slopey, curvy street. So if people don't have the consideration to slow down and respect the speed limit, I don't know what else to do. So I think speed humps, speed bumps, anything that the city see fit will be very helpful, at least to save people's life, or like people who walk their dog, or property or cars that parked on the street. I have talked to my neighbors, at least 5, 6 of them around my house, who showed a lot of support to this. Like 3 or 4 of them came to the meeting but had to leave because of the wait.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. So I have nothing else to add. Thank you for this opportunity to express my concerns, and I hope you approve this request.
Thank you. Anybody online?
To the chair, we have 2 people raising their hands online. The first speaker I can identify is Michelle Abdelnour. Please unmute and you may begin your testimony.
Hi, my name is Michelle Abdelnour. I live at 8 Paradox Drive. I actually own that house. It is across from Deya's house. And I just wanted to come on and say that I fully support having speed humps installed in our street. I've lived in the neighborhood for most of my life, and I've owned my house on Paradox for the past almost 20 years. And, you know, in the I think it was in the last 10 years or so, there was a young girl who was riding her bike and was hit by a car that was either going from Paradox to Beaconsfield or Beaconsfield to Paradox, but it was just after the stop sign that is now there on Paradox. And most recently, my husband was walking the dogs down by that stop sign, was almost hit. And my son recently was trying to back his car out of our driveway and was almost hit. And the person stopped and, was like yelling at my son and all of this stuff. So my kids are older now, but, just living in the neighborhood, we now have all the new young, families and young children in the neighborhood. And I just agree that for the safety of all of these kids, and then even, people of all ages riding their bikes, walking in the neighborhood and everything, I think that it is so important, and I fully support it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next person I can identify is Cedric Borsiquat. Please go ahead and unmute, and you can be in testimony.
Yes, good evening. My name is Cedric Busico, and I live at 10 Paradox Drive. I'd just like to say, as a resident and parent of Paradox Drive, I deeply value the safety of our neighborhood, especially when it comes to protecting children and pedestrians. So I understand and appreciate the concern about speeding, and I support the efforts to address it. While I am open to the installation of speed humps, if they are determined to be the most effective solution, I would also appreciate consideration for alternative traffic calming measures. For example, radar speed feedback signs, or increased enforcement, or other design-based interventions that might help reduce speed while minimizing some of the potential drawbacks associated with speed humps, such as, I know folks before me have mentioned, emergency vehicle delays, because we are about 1 mile away from a fire station. We also do have a lot of commercial vehicles coming through, so I don't know how that would also impact it. So at the end of the day, I am supportive of it, but if there are other ways that we could also help to mitigate, I would be open to those. Lastly, I also want to just a point to consider is we are on a slight hill, and especially with the snowstorms this year, I know we saw a lot of cars slipping and sliding up the street, and so again, just a potential consideration for inclement weather, especially when it comes to winter. Again, I am supportive of any appropriate solution that improves safety while also considering the overall impact for the entire neighborhood. My neighbors and their children, like Dea, and as Michelle had mentioned, just everyone. I also have a young son. Lastly, just a question, I guess. As a resident, I would appreciate any resources or direction to the relevant data from my own understanding, along with guidance on how to remain informed and to monitor the progress of this initiative. I believe it was said earlier that in a month, this information will be released. And I'm just kind of trying to find out where I could find this information just to keep myself educated and understand what's going on in the neighborhood. Lastly, I just want to thank you for your time and the efforts in keeping our community safe.
Commissioner Rowley?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to, in response to that, I just wanted to mention there is a webpage on the Department of Transportation Mobility's website regarding traffic calming and specifically the speed hump program, so you can find more information there. If you have any trouble finding that, feel free to contact our office, and our contact info is on the webpage as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To the chair, there's no one else raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay, we move on to 5E. Saif Al-Salihi requests installation of speed humps on Ludlow Street. Anybody here on that? Online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Alrighty. 5F. Ian Jolin requests installation of speed humps on Hadwin Lane. Anybody here on that? Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
Okay. 5G. Counselor myself, behalf of Rafael and Ann Ortiz, request installation of speed humps on Brookline Street. Is there anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on
All right.
Zoom.
Just for the record, I know they were here with a bunch of people, but they had to leave. So, move on. And we're down with the 1 yard line. Natalie Gibson requests a reinstallation of 2 speed humps on 4th Street in the vicinity of 31 and 33 4th Street and 62 and 67 4th Street. Name and address, please.
Natalie, 4th Street. Thank you guys very much for sticking this out. I almost think Councilor Rivera, you put me last for a reason.
No.
I hope that we will be first or in the middle when Joseph's petition come up. So what I'm going to say is, you guys already know, but I'm going to say this for anyone who maybe looks back on this video. I hope that people will go to the Mass DOT website, also our City of Worcester website, and look on the Traffic and Parking Department's website to find out more information about these speed humps, speed tables, the calming measures. Also to the Worcester PD's website to see what their stats are for traffic. So for the past 20 years, I've been living on 4th Street. It's a steep hill, almost half a mile long, without sidewalks for the majority of its length. My first 1 to 2 years, it was a dead end and really had a speeding issue. So I say again, it is a hill. As more houses were being built higher up on the street, and the barrier was removed, the floodgates had opened for increased traffic and speeding. This area is densely packed and has many growing young and older families. We used to have 2 residents in motorized wheelchairs that valued their right to travel in their chairs, like residents like us like to walk to our neighbors' homes, mailboxes, to the school buses at the end of the infamous Mill Street, and also the WTRA bus stops on Mill Street. Aside from those 2 disabled residents, we have had other reasons for Worcester PD, Worcester EMS, Worcester Fire Department, and the Worcester Fire Department to travel to our street frequently. This is a hill. We've had the speed humps, you can correct me if I'm wrong, speed humps for the last 2 years. In my opinion, and maybe Worcester PD and everyone else can correct me, I have not seen a delay in care in getting to the residents. If your vehicle is damaged or in need of repairs, I'm guessing that you may be approaching these types of calming measures too fast. I didn't prepare much at all, but when I heard a lot of talking, I felt like I needed to clarify some stuff. Speaking of fast, Worcester PD installed a speed feedback reader, and it clocked a vehicle going 59 miles per hour downhill at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at the time that the Worcester Public Schools students were starting to make their way back up the hill to their homes. In February 25, a driver who doesn't live on our street but lives above us off of the streets up there, Scandinavia and such, he was speeding as usual and T-boned a vehicle making a left turn onto 4th Street from a side street a little bit further up. Worcester has over 400 public streets, not total streets, public streets. Even if Worcester PD was appropriately staffed or even overstaffed, there is no realistic way for them to be on all the public streets 24 hours a day without sacrificing or neglecting other community needs. Also, we know that when they are visible, speeders briefly slow down, just as the people have said before me. The behavior and the culture of drivers need to change. The priority should not be drivers' convenience and material objects over safety. I'm tired. I've been up all day, came from work, sorry. The city is capable of enforcement, fixing potholes, and implementing calming measures for the safety of all multimodality users. There are different fundings for different projects. Joseph lives on my street as well. Did you want to say anything? Okay, I am done. Please, so this will be the third year. If you should bestow them on us, we like them.
Thank you. Joseph? We know your name and street.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Joseph Zwerblia, 4 4th Street. I know we're the last item on tonight's agenda, and obviously we're last, being Zwerblia. But I just wanted to say, recently we just celebrated our 100th anniversary of Goddard's rocket being launched from Auburn. That rocket that flew fast. But we have cars on 4th Street that go faster than that historic launch. Imagine that. So I ask, I implore, I support Natalie's petition for speed humps, and even a third one down where I live at the bottom of 4th Street. I've seen many near encounters with cars racing up and down the hill with my grandchildren trying to cross the street. Nobody slows down, nobody stops. It's just terrible, it's awful. We've heard a lot tonight, so I really want to ask and, for consideration for 4th Street. There, as Natalie mentioned, there's a lot of school children that live on that street. It's amazing, and we don't have sidewalks. But, for safety's sake, please add speed humps to 4th Street. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will make one more last question. To everyone, what is the value of your loved one's life? What is the value?
Thank you. Anybody online?
To the chair, there's no one raising their hands on Zoom.
All right, now we're at the end. Just moving to file 3C through 5H. Roll call.
Councilor Pilata, Councilor Rivera, and Chairperson Councilor Pilata, Councilor Ojeda,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Rivera.
Yes. And I think with that being said, the meeting is adjourned.
To the chair, would you like to do a roll call for
Roll
adjourn?
call.
Councilor Pilata, Councilor Ojeda,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Rivera.
Yes.